Okay then, let's get on with this week's Street Talk. 4 episodes only to discuss this week. I will blast through it, I'm sure, with nothing controversial whatsoever to talk about this week. But first, clickbait, Gemma. What have we got this week to get the ball rolling?
Thank you, Jonathan, for sending them through.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna...
Jonathan, now the proud owner of a Conversation Street Patreon mug.
That's right.
Now that he's been top tier Patreon for 6 months.
Yep.
Enjoy your tea in it.
Yep.
Or cool beverage in this weather, perhaps.
I wouldn't like to drink something cold out of a mug.
Would you not?
Do you ever do that? It has to be a glass, otherwise it's weird.
Yeah, sometimes you're right. Just like a bit of water from the sink.
If I drink something cold out of a mug, my brain immediately sends an emergency message. What's happened? Are we in some kind of war zone or something? Why haven't we got a glass handy?
Yeah, no, okay. Well, yeah, people can...
The apocalypse or something.
People can do whatever they want with their mugs.
Well, of course they can, but my brain doesn't like it.
Okay, right, go on then. What are we starting with?
Right, I'm just going to say, although I do really love the Manchester Evening News and all who sail in her, I'm going to give a bit of a waggy finger here because they're now not free anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you told me this yesterday.
You have to buy a digital subscription
to be able to read. Well, what about us? We need it for our Corrie news and articles and clickbait sometimes.
I don't know what to say because I know the pressures of trying to, make content and not get money for it. Where do you get the money from?
Yeah.
I just don't think it's ever going to work to ask to lock your content down. It just doesn't work because no one's going to pay for it.
Is it you get a certain number of free articles a day or something?
No, I think it's a month. I've run out already.
Oh gosh, no, I don't like the sound of that. Well, what can you do? I'm sure
no
Manchester
more.
Evening News will continue.
I'm sure they don't care what I think. Now that Andy Burnham's the Prime Minister, they probably get special, they probably get his cultural arts grant or something. Right, Coronation Street fans cast clear verdict on Sarah Platt prison stint and think they've rumbled the real killer. From Manchester Evening News.
People really keep making news out of this same thing, don't they? Is this just another, I think that the killer was... last week we had people saying that Jodie was the killer. Is this another Jodie one again?
I'll just tell you that they think that Sarah won't end up in prison because she didn't do it because it's actually Jodie or Gary. And people are still harping on the whole his leg moved thing.
They really, really are, aren't they?
I'll tell you what they need to do. I know that they will never do this, but seeing as what they love their little survey so much at Corrie, why don't they just get a bunch of super conspiratorial internet nerds to watch every episode before it goes on air and then go, right, what crazy conspiracy theory have you got here? Like us, when we were going, that's not, Joel's in a body bag, blah, blah, blah.
That wasn't crazy.
Right. And then they could see, oh yeah, it does look like his leg moved. But when you actually watch it back, it clearly wasn't his leg moving.
Well, it was dark, wasn't it? That's the thing. You said it was Gary's leg. But the thing is, it must be really difficult to put clues. Not saying that this was or wasn't a clue. Well, we're saying it wasn't a clue. But sometimes they want to put things in so that you can go back later and they can say, haha, you missed this, didn't you? But it must be so difficult, especially at a crucial moment in a plot like this, because people are going to be combing it frame by frame for details.
But also, it's really hard to put yourself outside of and go... What would I think if I didn't know what this was supposed to be?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
next.
Is that what... Yeah, okay, fine.
Coronation Street Cassie's whereabouts unveiled. And it's bad news for Tyrone from the Liverpool Echo.
Her whereabouts have been unveiled? I don't think they have.
That's in inverted commas. And I did see...
Guessed.
I can't remember who it was. Having a hard time, one of the journos on Twitter having a hard time because people were having a go about the clickbait and saying, when I see something in inverted commas, I know it's not true. And I will just point out that you're not often responsible. I can't remember what the specific person said, and I'm not going to name them because they probably are fed up with the whole thing. You're not always in charge of what the headline is. When you write something, it's normally the editor or somebody that writes the headline.
Yeah, spicing it
up. And they don't care. They're there to get you to click on it, and you clicked on it, didn't you? So it worked.
Yeah. So this is people who are guessing what's happened.
But this whole segment is us just making fun of.
I know if they didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to have this segment, would we?
Well, I think if you're in the world of this sort of journalism, you have to just roll with the punches and accept it that people are gonna go, that's naff.
Yeah,
like it is a bit naff.
I don't know how you can win.
I mean, you either do this or you end up with no money, and you have to do a subscription service, and then nobody reads anything anyway. I feel really bad for everybody. Honestly, it's a bad time to be doing anything. I think we should all just let the sun take us.
Oh, we're getting there.
Not the paper.
Not the newspaper, no.
He's
got enough of a monopoly
They
already.
would happily mince us all up and make us into pages.
Right, so people are saying they think they know where Cassie is, do they? I mean...
It's just obvious. What's the most obvious thing that everyone thinks?
Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that it? Is there an or?
Well, how would she die of?
Murder.
She died of murder?
Yeah.
Who by?
Ross. Got there in the end.
Well, Ross killed her, or she's being held captive.
Okay, yeah. So let's pause the clickbait for a minute and let's talk about this, because we said earlier that a few people were a bit miffed that our interview with Claire Sweeney spoiled the fact that Cassie is not going to be on the show for quite a while, if at all, in the future. What are your feelings?
It wasn't us that spoiled it anyway, because everyone,
no, I know.
Like Claire Sweeney said, I've left.
Yeah.
We can't be like, shh. Don't say anything.
She's said it before. We weren't the first publication.
No, but it wasn't an exclusive reveal.
What would you put your money on, Gemma, has happened to Cassie at the moment?
I'd be gutted if she died.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, of murder.
I think that we're probably... I would say at the moment we're probably supposed to think that he has offed her, because Corrie likes to murder people left, right and centre, and Ross is clearly a wrong un and is always working for a prison. He's a man of the law, and he's
a screw.
He's a bent screw, and you don't want to be screwing anything down with that. So I think Corrie is leading us very hard down the route of murder, but there's nothing particularly that is saying murder or... And, you know, whether she's been Andy Carvered, locked in a basement somewhere. Equally, she could have just gone off. But, you know, that photo was a clue, wasn't it? There's clearly something has happened to her.
What photo?
The photo that Fizz gave her in the envelope, and later at the end of the episode when Ross came back, he took it out. So he has got the photo that she was presented with by Fizz before she left. So he's clearly... Something more than what we saw in the episode has happened.
To be meta about this,
well, I think we must.
There's no indication to me that Claire Sweeney has recorded a clandestine extra scene, right? That will reveal that she's being held captive or that she's been murdered.
No, I believe what she told me on Sunday, which was the last thing that I filmed chronologically, was being whisked off in a car somewhere. I don't think this. I was really, really asking, like, before we recorded.
Yeah, you were like, "What's happening?"
I need to know. We need to try and put my questions round. Yeah,
before...
exactly.
Wow.
And it was pretty good for us this week that we got it's kind of a bit of an exclusive, wasn't it? Because there had been some other press previous week, some print press, about Claire leaving, and when she started off Annie, she did Lorraine and a few others, I think. I don't know what, but it seemed like we were the main this week interview, which is pretty cool. But I was saying, hey, you got to let me know what happens to you at the end. The synopses say you just get whisked off in a car, but surely there's more than that. And she was like, no, that was the last. I don't know what's happened to her. So I mean, the options are, there is an option that Corrie also doesn't know yet, right? Because sometimes 100% this is the case. They will put things in and then say, yeah, we haven't figured out where it's going to go yet. Especially, I can't remember when this show goes on to, when Annie goes on to. I know that Annie is coming here in Southampton in January, and I think it goes on for a couple of months after that. So even if Claire, as soon as she finishes Annie, is like, I don't need a holiday, I'm going to get straight back to Corrie, there's no way that we can be seeing Cassie until, I don't know, May, June, July next year. So if she is in a basement, like Andy Carver, that's a lot longer than he was kept down there. He was there for 6, 7, 8 months, maybe, I can't remember, and a year. And I also think, well, would they do the same thing again? You know, and it's not been so long since that happened, 8, 9 years or so, maybe. So I don't know whether it's that. But clearly the way that the story is going this week, we're supposed to be questioning it.
Without being rude, I don't really want Ross to be in the show for a year. I'm sure he will be. But I think it would just be bizarre if it turned out he'd had her in a basement. But if it turns out he killed her, we're never going to see what happened, which is really unsatisfying. I think it's going to come out that he's just told her to get lost and never come back, and it will come out in an argument.
How did he get...
I just can't see, without the inclusion of the actress Claire Sweeney who plays Cassie, I cannot see how they can satisfactorily explain where she's gone with leaving it like a mystery. And I'm also going to say, I do think it's a big mistake to write in a mystery of where a character has gone or what's happened to them in the world that we live in, where soap spoilers and stories and interviews and actors are all telling you what's happening. Like, nobody who is interested and engaged in it, everyone knows now that Claire Sweeney's left, right? It's not a secret. You could find out as well if you wanted to. You could just look it up. Back in the day, maybe you could have got away with a mysterious storyline, like, where is so-and-so? What has happened to them? Now you can't, because it's not like Andy Carver, because the actor was deliberately helped them cover up what he was doing. He didn't put anything online. He wasn't going off and doing something else. He was secreted on sets. He hid the whole time. He didn't tell anybody, even his friends and his family, that he was back in Coronation Street.
Well, the other thing
Claire Sweeney's like, yeah, I've gone. I'll see you later.
Corrie very purposefully with Andy led us to believe that he was dead. We saw Pat hitting him over the head with a laptop. We saw him, taking him. We saw that there was like mud on his shoes when he went and had that when he got married to Eileen, from like where he'd supposedly been digging a grave or whatnot. Corrie basically said, no, he's definitely dead. And here at the moment, we've got a lot less than that. Yeah, I mean, she, for all intents and purposes, Claire Sweeney has left the show. Andy Carver had left the show. It was just a case of, it's not, don't be arranging any work in 6-7 months' time, probably.
And it's not beyond an actor to mislead you in an interview. Like, we've had that loads of times. Like, we've spoken to people, and they've, like, you spoke to the actress who played Grace, and she was back in the show like 2 weeks later.
Oh yeah,
we actually went to Belfast
Condren.
and spoke to Michael Condren, and he was like, oh yeah, I'd come back if they asked me. Next week he was on the show. It's hilarious. I love that they do that. But in this case, it's seemingly impossible that she's been able to do anything other than not, because she's touring. It's not like she's gone off and she's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get a job on Loose Women. She's touring the country. There's no time.
It's all, the way that she worded it with me as well. She was saying, look, I spoke to Kate Brooks and we just couldn't arrange that long of a gap for me to go and do something else. Who knows what agreement they've got in place with Maureen Lipman at the moment. But sometimes when Corrie stars, and this is happening a little bit more recently, are let out to go and do a stage show or something, it's like, yeah, you can go and do something for the 3-4 weeks. We can cover that. That's fine. But best part of a year? I don't think so. So I don't think that... I'm imagining that there's nothing in place to say you're coming back here when we're done.
But
from what she was saying to me.
Personally, I think that they've left it open and that they're going to make it seem like Ross has killed her, but he actually hasn't. And then if Claire Sweeney wants to come back, they will have her come back when she's finished her tour. But I also think it's a bit tight that Maureen Lipman was saying, I'll come back if they have a good story. And they must have said to her, look, we could write something in for Claire Sweeney going, Cassie's your daughter. And she was like, whatever they come up with, if they even indeed did bother to try to get her back for it. I know if I was in charge of Corrie and I knew that she wasn't going to come back unless she came up with a story, I'd try to come up with something that involved Evelyn, right? Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And they obviously must have come up with something. And she was like,
but I can't remember how long she's been in this production that she's doing, Maureen, because she's in Allegra, is it called, I think? I don't know how long that's been going.
When Coronation Street calls, Maureen Lipman does not need to answer.
No.
That's all I'm going to say. I think it's very interesting that she said that, and it feels like quite a loaded comment now, that anything that happens with that family that doesn't entice Maureen Lipman to come back seems like an indictment on the story as far as the actress is concerned. Not that I think that her life revolves around Coronation Street, obviously, but it just seemed like whenever she's not here, it's because Maureen Lipman's read the script and gone, nah.
I do get that impression a little bit, but it could well be that she was busy for this stage show and there was just clashes. I would like to think, well, I'm sure we'd all like to think, that if she knew that Cassini was going, who it seems like they've got a very good working relationship, that she might want to, pop her nose round the door to say, "Oh, you off then?" Or,
it does
something.
It does feel very possible that she just also clashing of.
Yeah.
And both of them are showbiz. They know that's what life is. I'm just being one of those internet conspiracy theorists.
I know you are. Well, Claire said that she went to see her on stage a couple of weeks ago.
I'm sure they get on really well.
So
I'm sure they're all just one big happy family.
Everybody loves each other on the cast, don't they? It feels to me. I wonder whether this is the other thing. Fizz is on the case, right? And where's this story going to go? Because the only way she's going to find out where she is,
I know,
is if she's dead.
Well, this is what I mean.
Or does she get a letter or a phone call? I don't know.
This is why it's going to be deeply unsatisfying, because it's going to be she's died, which I would be annoyed about, and we don't get to see what happened. Or it's going to be, oh, Cassie just phoned me up and she can't come to the wedding.
I wonder, but I am very, very intrigued that the plotters is going down a Fizz mystery route. I like that Fizz is being given some proper agency. I like that Fizz is being used seriously in this story.
It doesn't excite me because it doesn't feel like there's gonna be a satisfactory ending given the fact of what we know.
Knowing that Claire
the
can't,
logistics,
knowing that Cassie is not going to be back, there can't be a satisfying ending for the time being. But
you see what I mean? Like, you can't do a what happened to so and so story with a character whose actor's gone, oh, no, I've left. You can't have a mystery about where is so-and-so when
they be found?
The actor's like, oh, no, I'm touring the country.
I suppose the Lauren mystery from a couple of years ago is comparable, isn't it?
Better one, because we didn't know where Kate Fitton was.
We didn't know where Kate Fitton was. No, exactly. It's different in that way, but it was, a lot of people didn't like that, and a lot of people were like, oh, of course she's not dead, I think.
The fact that there's even a comparable storyline not that long ago is...
Well, quite.
Why are we doing the same story over and over again?
I'm interested to know what Fizz is going to be doing and how long it takes for her to give up. Because I think probably... the fact that Ross has got that photo and Fizz is the one that gave Cassie the photo, surely a plot beat at some point in the near future is she's going to find the photo and go, hang on a minute, why do you have that? And I don't know how he's going to be able to talk his way out of it. So, I'm clearly more interested in this than you, but you're right, there can't be a satisfying ending at the moment, because the satisfactory ending for all of us is we'd like Cassie to come back in. As I say, that's not happening for at least a year or so. Or, does she get... It would also make sense if Biz knows that Cassie is missing, she'd be on the blower to Evelyn, wouldn't she? And again, there's no way that Evelyn's coming back.
It'd be funny if she
at the time being. It'd be. I don't know how easy it would be for her to pop in, because even like for the past couple of years, she's just been making these on-off appearances, hasn't she? In for a week, off for 3 months, kind of thing, while she's stays in from university. But if Fizz is being suspicious, she should really be talking to Evelyn. Evelyn's a legal eagle now, so she should be down here and on the case. But I don't know. We will speak more about that later on. I wanted to give this bit of time because that's one of the major talking points this week. What's happened to Cassie?
The fact that Evelyn's nowhere near and doesn't care or doesn't seem to know.
Oh no! I think that Cassie's gone off and she's bundled away in the same place as Alina is, and they're just in this little box of nobody mentioned them for a little bit.
But if you're Evelyn as well, this is the man who raped your daughter.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't. In real life.
Why have stories? I just don't understand why some stories aren't just ruled out because they stitch characters up. I think the writing for characters is so inconsistent now. We've been moaning about it for years, but it's just come to a head now, I think. You can't just only write for stories.
And I'm sure that there are lots of stories that do get thrown out for that very reason, but then you've got to go with something. But you're not wrong in that maybe a little bit more, let's brainstorm some other ideas might not go amiss in some cases. What you got next on the clickbait then?
I'll just do one more.
Yeah, go for it.
Coronation Street fans left with Ryan Connor question as he's praised for role in Betsy Swain health ordeal from the Manchester Evening News.
So Ryan this week has been praised online quite a bit, hasn't he, for being the only one that's listening to Betsy. And what's it? He's been praised and something's been guessed about him.
Left with Ryan Connor question.
Oh, I saw some people asking when's Ryan going to get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Is it that? Because he's got so much love in his heart, and why should it only be Betsy that benefits from it at the moment?
When is he going to get a girlfriend? When is he going to get a story that's his own story? He already had a story, and now look at him.
He got acid over his face.
You don't want that to happen again, do you? So let's leave him alone.
Well, maybe he's kind of sworn off women a little bit after the whole catfishing incident with Crystal. But I don't know.
I think he's fine. I think, it's always been, well, in recent years, it's been a Coronation Street kind of unwritten rule that if you want a story, you have to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife, whatever. You have to have a partner.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yes, we know that's true.
Okay.
Right? But Ryan doesn't need that because he's part of the Connor Swain family, and they have stories anyway. That he doesn't need a girlfriend, and I'm going to argue if he got a girlfriend, it would take him away from that group of characters, and he'd have to get his own.
I think it would. It's otherwise you can't just keep adding more to the pot, can you? And say, oh yeah, my boyfriend Ryan, I'll come and live with you.
Yeah, I'll live with your aunt, her wife, and her daughter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's a totally normal thing to do.
But in real life, one might query, why isn't Ryan out on the town? Why isn't he pulleying? Why hasn't he got the ladies dripping off of him when he's doing his latest DJ set? I don't know. Is it the scar? Is everybody in Weatherfield very, very superficial?
He's very busy. He's got Debbie to consider, and now he's got Betsy.
I suppose so. Oh, he's fritting his life away in the service of others. What a gent.
I know. And also, how are Lisa and Carla supposed to pick what they listen to next?
What do you mean?
Well, he's the DJ. He's got to be there to help them put together playlists.
Do you think that's
every time I hear, and I'm gonna get crap from Swallow fans about this, but every time they play a song, it's always some kind of dreary, like dirgy. I know that they're obviously all classics and wonderful, but they all just. I think they need Ryan in there to put some dance in or something, bit of trance.
Can you imagine? Can you see
the chill out mix?
Lisa living at large with a glow sticks?
Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, why not?
And then Bernie is just like, what's that? My people. And
they all flock. They all flock to it and have a party. See, and then Betsy will be happy.
Oh, okay, there it is. Well, let's get on with our
It's
stories.
been well established that I have a completely different musical taste to. I say 90% of the things they put on Coronation Street.
Yeah.
Unless it's like the Nolan sisters. I'm like, what is this? What is this song?
Right, okay, so storyline titles for this week, Gemma.
The only thing I ever use Shazam for is Coronation Street. Has anyone else got this problem? Mind you, though, everyone's having this argument about the number one track, aren't they? Whatever it's called. Rain me down, rain me in. Don't rain on me. Don't rain on my parade.
We've just broken the record in the UK, haven't we, for a track that's been at number one for the longest amount of time, although I don't think they're subsequent weeks.
Letitia
19 weeks.
Dean and Bobby
Sam
Kennedy
Fender, is he called? I've never heard
Fender,
of either of these artists. I've never heard the song.
I've been told,
but it's at number one for 19 weeks.
I've been told 100 times that they're both incredibly famous, and I've seen so many tweets accusing people of lying about not knowing who they are.
Apparently they got a Brit Award for Best Song or something. The charts ain't what they used to be, are they?
Brit Award, whatever.
But
are they the BAFTAs for music?
I don't love the song. Haven't listened to it.
It's awful.
I don't think it's awful. I think I like it more
really
than you
bad.
do. But I don't understand why it's been at number 1 for
well,
so
listen,
long. But I don't claim to understand anything about chart music these days.
Bit of investigation, and it's not even his best song.
Oh, did you?
It's not even in the top 50% of his best songs. So what is the deal?
It's just because there's nothing better
People
come along,
just,
eh?
I swear, most of the streams are people going, "What is this?" I've listened to it twice because I couldn't believe how bad it was. I had to listen to it again
just to check.
I'll give everything a second chance, but it was just genuinely insipid rubbish.
Well, we don't have musical maestros in the vein of Philip Lowry or Bill Tarmy.
It's not like I don't like any music that's modern. It's not like I'm a curmudgeon and go, "Oh, I hate any unless it's Oasis. Anything after that, I won't listen to it." I'll listen to anything if it's good, but this is really boring.
That wouldn't make your DJ set list.
I can't even tell. It's not even like, sometimes when you listen to a song, you're like, this is terrible, and then you're humming it, and then it gets in your head, and then you're like, okay, it is actually a banger. No, I can't even remember how it goes.
No, I don't.
Do you remember how it goes?
No, but I've heard it half as many times as you, Jam. I've only listened to it once.
These people going, "Oh, I can't believe you have never heard it," because it's on the radio all the time. What if I didn't listen to the radio?
That's what podcasts are for. Podcasts exist so you don't have to listen to the radio.
The invention of podcasts has freed me from having to listen to somebody else decide what music I want to listen to.
Well, I never listened to the radio anyway. I had my tapes, I had my mini discs.
No, I didn't. The only time I listened...
And then podcasts came along. It's like, I'm sorry, that's my drive to work. Thank you very much.
But you were into pop.
Yeah.
And I was more into like MTV2 and Kerrang and stuff. So... There wasn't really much to listen to. I'd listen to those channels. We both watched music channels when we were kids, didn't we?
R.I.P. MTV, by the way.
I guess you can do that on YouTube now, can't you?
Is it? Yeah.
Right, so this is
well, we're old.
This is oldie
this
corner
is old fuddy-duddy complaining. Isn't it? Exactly.
I remember when I was younger going, I can't believe that adults don't care about what's cool and hip. I'll never be like that. It's so important to know who the number one...
I care about Coronation Street, people. Thank you very much.
Who are the famous people and what are they doing? It's important.
I'm still up with the latest Nintendo games, Gemma.
So
but don't ask me about Minecraft or Roblox, though. Right, we must get on. So we have got 5 stories this week, Gemma. We're going to be starting off with Castaway. Yeah,
Castaway.
Sounds like
what's that?
Castaway.
Castaway.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Not the best. We have got a bit more of the Beyond a Choke story next, Dementia, which is just going to keep on going for the next year or so. Sarah Lou Dunnett, and also That's Rich.
That's rich.
Yeah, that's Rich. Because you got Richie that's appeared on the scene yesterday, eh?
Yep.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to suggest that when Sarah Lou eventually gets away with murder...
If she does, you mean?
We can call it Sarah Lou Dammit.
Yeah, oh gosh, she's totally going to get away with it, isn't it? But I was more interested in that story.
I really enjoyed
yesterday's episode
between Gary and Kit.
I'm really loving it.
Yeah.
I'm really...
So
even though I know that...
Whose side are you on?
They're
both playing... Kit's playing dirty.
I'm always going to pick Gary over Kit. And Gary was kind of... He wasn't coerced into helping Sarah, but he's a bit of a Robin Hood sort of figure, isn't he? He's gonna fly in there as Robin Hood was.
Robin Hood was like always helping people
get away
hide
with
murder weapons. Yeah.
And yet Kit is trying to get Gary proper sent down for it, even though
he is just jealous. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. But I genuinely, that was maybe the best story.
It came into it. I don't know. There are a few good bits.
Love seeing Debbie again. I'm just going to summarise and then we'll move on. I'm not doing any. We'll just do the news after this.
There's no news this week.
Cassie's confusing. The Betsy storyline is just quite sad. Debbie would love to see her anyway. The Sarah Lou stuff is the most exciting. And then this rich guy, it's like, it's the same thing as finding out that Thingy's got Idris is her uncle, not her cousin. I don't care about his wife.
Well,
spoiler alert! I know what's going to happen next. I still don't care.
We've only had a couple of scenes of Richie so far, haven't we?
Is that his name, Richie?
Richie, yeah. He didn't make He didn't make a brilliant first impression on me, I
do agree with what a lot of people have said, that it was nice to see the lads together. I did enjoy that, although it was quite comical watching them all perching like a bunch of naughty pigeons with nowhere to sit because the set wasn't big enough for them all.
I appreciate how they've managed to cast somebody as Tim's cousin who has got a bit of a Tim look going on about it. Not that we look anything at all like our cousins, or that's the thing, but they've definitely gone for a bit of a Tim-alike, haven't they? I can't remember who it is that plays him, but all you have to do is shave your head and you look a bit like Tim. It's worked with me. Maybe I should do that.
Don't do that.
How would you like that?
Please
Wake up
don't.
and then turn over in the morning and you just think you see Tim there lying next to you.
No, right. Like an boiled egg.
Would you like to do the Cassie story?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can if you want to. Because
You want to do the Sarah Louise one then?
No, I don't care.
Yes, you do. Right, I'll talk to you about it.
Right, so what was the story of Cassie on
I just told you.
Us.
I just said I was going to do it, and then you have to reintroduce me again. On Monday, she wakes up on the Metcalfe sofa, and she's been kicked out. She's miserable.
Yeah, Tim found her drunk somewhere, didn't he, and helped her back.
Yeah.
What a gentleman he is.
She tells him...
that roll eyes doesn't translate to the medium of podcast, Gemma.
I often think, I know everyone wants video podcasts now. No, does anyone really want them? Nobody wants video podcasts. But everyone's convinced it's the next thing.
I think lots of people do.
And I dread the day that we ever have to do this because we are so fidgety. I make so many... You both make faces at each other all the way through this. And sometimes we'll say something and we know actually what's really happening and we look at each other and we couldn't do that if we were...
Not very often.
There are a few little glances that would get us in so much trouble. Anyway, that can be maybe a bonus one day. Like we said, when we finish the podcast, we'll tally everything.
We'll spin all.
So some people out there really need to be more invested in helping us continue, don't they? They do. Right, so she says...
I've just got one of those looks.
Cassie tells Tim about how awful Ross is and he's tearing the family apart. And Tim says, look, I know you, Cassie, and I know the Cassie I know would not give up without a fight, so go back and fight for your family. So she comes out of the house and sees Tyrone, who's being a sulky little bitch, I have to say. And I agree with everyone too, and I've said it. Tyrone and Tracy are acting like they've been beamed. Is Coronation Street?
Yeah.
Is there like is this like Pod People or some kind of like horror movie where everybody's slowly being replaced by somebody who's controlled by some alien force?
Are you talking about the fact that both Tyrone and Tracy have been so easily taken in by Clear, Wrongen, Ross?
Admitted paedophile rapist Ross, who said, you know, sorry, I didn't know. Well, you know what I mean? He didn't even say sorry. And Cassie's there telling them everything. And I know why Tracy doesn't believe her necessarily, but there's nothing to not believe because he admitted he did it.
Yeah, I know.
Why would these people who are... I think the main thing that has characterised Tyrone and Tracy is fiercely misguided sometimes, but very fiercely protective of their children.
Yeah.
And they care a lot about them, and they both have daughters. So why on earth would you hang around with somebody who has got a past like this? I don't know. I
think it's really difficult, but like knowing that the storyline was leading toward Cassie leading, it's just really difficult not to look at it sometimes like, well, they just behaved like that because they had to, because the story had to go this way.
This is how it feels. I can't find a justification in the way they're acting at all in anything except for plot purposes.
But which is why I'm glad that Fizz is still sticking by Cassie, because that seems the most realistic of them all. Like, Tyrone has been let down by Cassie in the past, but I think that his reaction this week to her her trying to poison Ross last week with codeine, it's just a bit too much of an overreaction.
It's just disappointing and bad character work. And I don't know what anyone thinks about it.
I could see it with Tracy a lot more.
I don't know what anyone thinks about it on the show, but I do know that actors in the past who have publicly shared frustrations when they feel like their characters weren't written You can find you can go out there and find people who've gone on record to say. So it's not like actors are always quite, if you're doing a good job, you have a strong sense of what your character does and thinks and feels and why they do it.
Yeah.
And when I don't think there's many people who would disagree that Tyrone and Tracy are acting a bit, especially Tyrone, acting a bit out of character.
Yeah, I can see that Tracy will latch onto anything that's going to make Cassie look bad.
I think,
but like you said, the way that she kind of hand waved what Ross did in his younger years.
I think that they thought that the whole drugs in the drink thing was gonna make give Tyrone that's a good reason to turn his back on her.
I think that it is, but it is harder for us to look kind of objectively about it when we know that she was set up by Ross, and we've seen Ross pushing her against the wall, and we've seen Ross purposefully give Tracy the drugged up smoothie.
Yeah, but she never said any of it. Like, I'm sorry, but the whole thing is just a series of people acting completely out of character, coincidentally, to magically come to the result of Cassie leaves the show.
Cassie tells Fizz as she's leaving, and we'll get there in a minute, don't trust him, don't trust him. But I just wish that they'd have had her say a little bit more about why.
I don't like it when this happens. It's not just Coronation Street that does this. It happens all the time in fiction where the mad woman is not believed. And I guess it is true that people don't listen to, like, people who are very emotional or something, but it just, well, anyway, shut up. So she sees Tyrone, he's just giving her the cold shoulder, and Tracy's over there as well, very handily.
They're all just gathered together going, as Cassie walks out of number 6.
I'm going to report you to the police. So Cassie chases Tyrone down and has a chat with him, and he says, it doesn't matter what you did or how many tablets you put in the smoothie, because she says, it was only 2 or something. He goes, it doesn't matter, you were trying to poison my dad. And she says, well, he was trying to poison you against me. I love you and the kids, and I'm trying to protect you. Tyrone's not having any of it. And she says, well, I'll hand myself in then. And he says, go on then. It's not going to change anything. But say bye to the kids and then you leave. So Cassie tells the kids that she's got a job cleaning on a cruise ship and that's why she's leaving. And Hope doesn't believe it and begs her to go. And they have this big group.
Begs her not to go.
Yeah, sorry. Begs her to.
Go on, please, bring me back a Toblerone.
Please, can you go and get me a bamboo t-shirt? So they have this big group hug, and
I wonder how different. We said earlier, like, it's a shame that Evelyn wasn't here for this. How do you picture the story would go down differently?
It would have not washed, would it? Because you can't stitch Evelyn up.
No. So do you think that she would have been fighting Cassie's corner?
She would have seen there's a lot more to this.
I would have hoped.
And also, I'm going to say too, she would have remembered what Cassie was like as a 15-year-old girl. And it's very easy. This is what I said before. It's very easy to look at Claire Sweeney, at Cassie, and say, I can't, I can understand why you would think that she, get confused. But Evelyn knows what she looked like when she was 15 years old. And it's very different in the abstract to say, he slept with a 15-year-old girl, but he didn't know. But when you look at someone like Hope, you go, she's 15. Is there confusion here at the moment with you? I don't think anyone's going to hold their hands up and go, I wouldn't have known how old she was. It's all down to what she actually looked like, right? And I think that Evelyn would be a lot less forgiving because she'll remember what Cassie was like and she'll still have that protective spirit. Because Tyrone, he knows her as his mum. Maybe it's really hard for him to imagine her as a vulnerable young girl.
Yeah.
But even true. So, I still find it super obnoxious when I hear people say, I didn't, men will often say, I didn't really think about women's issues until I had a daughter. I find that so. I don't understand whether they want a medal for it or what. But the amount of time I hear men saying, "Oh, it didn't bother me about these statistics or that thing or this terrible women's only problem until I had a daughter, and suddenly I give a crap about it."
So I think that maybe, the story would have had to have been very different were Maureen had been, was she able to come, I don't think the story would have gone down.
No,
this
it wouldn't.
route.
That's what I mean.
There's no way that she would have gone the next day. Oh, Cassie, I can't believe that you've done it again. Never mind. Of course, Ross can live with us. It wouldn't fit, would it? And Fizz is being sneaky at the moment and like pretending to pal up to him, but trying to get some information out of him. I don't think that Evelyn would have minced her words.
I wonder whether like they did pitch it as Evelyn going along with everything, and she was like, "I'm not doing that."
Well, possibly.
She can say, it's up to her whether she wants to come back or not.
Yeah, but as we said earlier,
like
I don't know whether
this
could have totally been, particularly because she's doing this play in London, an availability issue, and so they said, right, so we can't have Evelyn in the show. That means let's do this story. I just can't see how on earth this could have worked.
No.
Were Evelyn to have been here.
No.
And yeah, her presence at that birthday party scene, for example, would have made a hell of a lot of difference. And I think that she would have also not given up until she'd found Cassie too.
This story is again another villain coming in and being horrible.
I did still enjoy this Monday episode though. I thought this was a great episode, and I think a lot of it was down to there was some really good writing, and I'm not necessarily talking about the way they get from point A to point B, but there are a lot of great lines in it, and also the performances were wonderful. This is the episode as well when Debbie sees Sienna's mum out on the street for the first time, and she was amazing in her performance, and that so was the old woman. But Claire Sweeney, she gave it her all in these performances, and I think that definitely helped sell the iffy ending that they plotted for her. Like she's told me, and she's said in other interviews as well, that this scene where she's saying goodbye to the girls, they were genuine tears.
Aww.
and the directors were saying, look, do you want to rein it in a little bit? And she's like, no, I can't. I'm really, really sad to be sad to be going. I'm really sad to be leaving, because you make these bonds if you're doing all this work with the three kids plus Tyrone plus Fizzle, Alan and Jenny.
I know it's really hard.
You could say, well, she's only been in it 3 years, what? And she's going off to Annie, what? But I really do buy the genuine love and affection that Claire Sweeney has for her time on Coronation Street. And I just watching back that scene again, it was a really, really outstanding goodbye performance. I thought she did a really, really cracking job, and in her following scenes as well, I was like, oh, and yeah, that's what kept me hooked. That's what got his claws into me on Monday's episode.
Yeah, and picking up what you said about the writing, I think it's really people say the writing's bad, or say this writer's, what are you thinking? But it's such like, I still think that the day-to-day writing of episode writing is a really high standard. But when you have a sheet that tells you what the plot is going to be, you can't do much with, you've got to try to justify it. Sometimes the writers are having to justify something that should take weeks in one scene.
Yeah.
How on earth are you supposed to do that? I think they're doing a really good job. And there's so many pressure. I understand it. It feels like there's we keep saying writing. I just want everyone to understand specifically what we mean, because there's storylining, which is the general idea of what a story is. But even that person is not fully responsible for every, they have pictures and they come up with ideas, and it's very easy to see how you can pitch something that gets turned into a total garbled mess by the end of it, because you only get given 2 weeks to do a 3-month story.
Yeah, there are very, very many cogs at play here, and even then, if you're saying, well, it's such and such a person's fault for making this happen so quickly, or sometimes you have to, because it needs to happen by a certain time for it to coincide with another story, or it's got to work with when an actor is available, or this has got to be the A storyline for this month. Sorry, it maybe should feel like it's going on for 2 months, but it can't. And
yeah,
it's very easy as to just be sitting in our armchairs and say, well, they should make it work.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, it's not that easy, but it doesn't certainly need to be this difficult. It feels like something seems to have gone wrong. And I think it's just the churning of sensationalism.
Yeah.
And it really has come to ridiculous levels at this point.
There is a little bit on the sensationalist side, yeah, definitely.
And I know
that's to do with kind of the culture of the show, isn't it? The values of the show, the what's important for us at the end of the day is the shocks, the surprises,
not for us.
No. So for Coronation Street,
yes, the viewers don't want this.
No, they I mean, this might as well just go right up to the top and say it's Ian. Ian McLeod, like if he's saying we need to have murderer, we need to have all these villains come in, we need to have this and this, we need to have cliffhangers, we need to have the heightened drama at all possible, then everybody lower down
has to do it,
has to dance to that tune.
But equally, you say, oh, it's Ian McLeod's ideas or whatever, and to an extent that's probably true, but equally, who's this stupid, I'm sorry, it is stupid, survey nonsense. It's like asking a kid, do you want to have ice cream? If you ask somebody who's doing a survey, what do you want to see in Coronation Street? They'd be like, oh, I want to see more excitement, I want to see more sensational things, I want to see more murders, I want to see more, and then you've just got one every week. What did you like? What did you like to see? I liked it when so-and-so was revealed to be the secret whatever. I liked it when Pat Phelan murdered it.
I liked it when Richard Hillman kidnapped the kids and drove them and Gail into the canal.
You can't just then go, okay, well then we'll just take the element of that, what was that story? That was a murder. What was that story? It was a returning relative. Let's just put that in every week. That's what it feels like has happened. And then... But
I'm sure there are some survey fillers out there who are saying, I want there to be more friendship, there needs to be more day-to-day kitchen sink type drama. But I imagine that the more common answers are, the sort of stuff that we're seeing more of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, something seems to have gone quite wrong recently, because I'm seeing so many really pointlessly sensational things happening to no consequence, and we've been saying this for years. I feel like a canary in the coal mine. We've been saying for years, if you're going to have something super sensational, it has to have consequences. And it's I thought it was ridiculous back then, and now it's become just to the point where, you've got Trisha who groomed him, and she seemed to only exist so that Tim could tell Will that he'd been groomed. And then she's gone off and got away with it. Like, what's the point of her character? Is she going to ever come back?
Doesn't feel like it.
And there's so many other things that have just dropped off. I can't even think of them all. Like, and Jodie's just running around with a gun. and she stole that gun. And so what happens? Ronnie had to say, I owe you a favour to Vanessa or whatever her name is. Fiona. What's happened? Is that going to come back again?
Yeah, that's got to come back again.
It feels like
the fact that the gun is still in play means that bargain that he made to Fiona is still hanging over him.
For all that we complain about the medical storylines, they genuinely seem to be the only ones that actually have consequences because it's inescapable.
Yeah.
Like,
if somebody's been given a terminal diagnosis.
Debbie's going to die. Paul had to die.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say at this point. Even though some of those, like, Toya had cancer, no, she's fine now. And like, Ben, have you got a heart condition? Yeah, but it's not inherited from my dad, so we're just gonna forget I've got it.
I know.
What was all that about? Is he all right?
Right, come on, let's steer our way back to what we were talking about.
I swear, if you had a running list of all the plots that didn't have an ending, they wouldn't need to come up with any new ones, because they could just finish the ones they've got. Like, we've got plots at home. We don't need to go out and get new plots. We've got to finish the ones off we've got at home. Because if you leave them for too long, they're going to go funny and rotten, and then the flies are going to come. Okay? And it's summer. We can't be having it. I just feel very frustrated. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I'm also sure that other people
saying, shut
up with the moaning.
Get back on with the synopsis.
Yeah, so...
She said goodbye to the
children,
kids.
Bye. Don't go, Granny Cassie, and she's left in the room with Fizz because Tyrone hurries them all out, and she hands her an envelope with a family photo and a load of money and says, don't trust Ross because he's dangerous. Then Tyrone comes back and says, get out now. You're not my mum. I don't have a mum anymore. This is the second one now.
How many are just going through, aren't you? You're worse than Summer and her dad's at the moment. Next on the conveyor belt, please.
Next, please. At the cab office, Steve is telling Tim that he has given up on Cassie for good. But then he gets a text from her saying that she's at the precinct and wants to say goodbye. And then Tim's like, was he saying we're having therapy or something? This was actually quite funny.
This was funny.
We're having therapy and you have to ask, how does it make you feel? I keep being asked, how does it make you feel all the time? So,
I like that.
How does it make you feel? And so Steve says, it doesn't make me feel good, so I'm going to go and stop her.
This next scene, a lot of people have had an issue with as well. And I think, I genuinely, I did really enjoy Monday's episode. I think it was Ellen Taylor who wrote this one. And,
all of these writers are really talented.
The main problem that I had with it was what happens next, which was Cassie getting into Ross's car. Because she's there in the precinct, right? And she's texting Steve, or she's looking through her messages and all the ones that she's sent off from him. But bizarrely, Steve hasn't replied saying, I'm just on my way.
Typical man.
What do you mean?
Just not explaining.
Typical man might have just thumbs up it at least. I don't know what's going on with Steve.
Yeah, he should have thumbs up it.
But then Ross drives along and it's like, get in my car. And so to the man who she'd literally just been saying to Fizz, don't trust him.
Don't get in a car with him.
So the way that I've kind of retroactively justified that to myself is just that she... Even though you're a soap character,
right,
and there's people being murdered left, right, and centre all around you, you don't know you're a soap character, and you think, well, that's just happening to other people.
Oh, it's like being dead and a ghost.
Yeah, you don't know they're dead. And I think that nobody's expecting everybody to be a villain, and I know that as viewers we can watch the show and say, yeah, well, there's a new character come in, I'm immediately suspicious of them. Look, Richie doesn't even have that many flags at the moment, but I can't help myself look at him on yesterday's episode and go, he's wrong, and what's he going to do? What's he done next? But Cassie doesn't know this. She's not living in this same bubble as us. So I think that she thinks, look, Ross hates me. He's trying to get rid of me. He's telling me he can give me a lift to the station. I need to get to the station. It seems that Steve isn't going. I don't think Ross is going to kill me because nobody just thinks that someone's going to kill you. I think he wants me out of town as soon as he can. So if I get into the car, I suppose I'll have to share, a taxi with this odious little oik, but it's only 10 minutes to the station. Oh no, a car or whatever. But it's only 10-15 minutes to the station, and then he'll be out of my life for good. I think that it was just a case of her... Well, this is my justification, as I say, of her thinking, he's not going to kill me, he's trying to get me out of Weatherfield, I want to get out of Weatherfield. Does that work for you? It's
like, if this was a murder documentary, there would be all these Reddit threads of people going, I don't want to victim blame, but I really don't understand why she got in the car. Like, the last time they were alone together, he pushed her against the wall and told her he was going to kill her.
Yeah. But
where's the
but even so,
instinct?
you don't think that you're actually going to do it. I'm just kind of clutching on to the fact that she believed he just wanted her out of Weatherfield.
She's got the survival instinct of one of those tiny little ducklings that's following their mum that just goes down a drain. I had to, because I was interviewing Claire at the weekend, I had to have a look at the synopsis for Monday's episode, and that kind of ends with she's seen getting into a car. I can't remember the wording of it, but when I went to watch the episode, I was under the impression that I was going to see him get in the car, and like bundling her in and properly kidnapping and driving her off. But she just got in there, didn't she? She said, "What is that? You said you got puppies in your van." I love them.
We do know that Cassie loves a puppy.
I'm not gonna. I don't trust this. You show me the puppy first, and then I'll get in the van.
So anyway, yeah. So she gets into the car. He drives off just as Steve's coming around the corner, right?
Yeah, it's sad. It's like a 90s rom-com, isn't it?
Yeah. Except he's got very good sight, because I don't know whether everyone would have been able to notice who that was in the taxi. I don't think he saw her getting
It's not
in.
a taxi.
Car.
He's a taxi man, so he's obviously got skills at looking through windows of cars.
Okay, so that's your justification for that.
Yeah.
I think between us, this scene was A-OK.
I think give this 10 out of 10. So,
and I thought that was the last that we'd see of her, but we are treated to one location shoot, aren't we?
they stop on the side of the road. They talk about what happened. Cassie threatens to report him to the police. He locks the doors and speeds off, and we never see Cassie again.
What happens next? Yeah, again, bit of a dumb move, saying I'm going to report you to the police, but again, you're living in a world where you don't think that somebody's going to actually lock you in a basement, bump you off.
No, I'm sorry, but Abby and Cassie are two characters who I expect to have a healthy suspicion of anyone.
I suppose so.
Especially
Cassie.
people they know are wrong-uns, especially men.
Yeah.
I just think that, especially a man who's wronged her, and recently. Anyway, maybe she's like, oh no, he's a prison officer now. He would never do anything wrong. He wouldn't be hired if he was immoral.
Do you think there can be any other options for what's happened to her? Because we kind of dismissed anything other than murdered, basement, or actually let her go, but somehow took the photo off of her.
Like the 6 Wives of Henry VIII.
Yeah,
murdered, basement, photo.
We can only think of 3. I don't get at the moment why Fizz has been trying to contact her and she's not been contactable, because the last Cassie saw of Fizz, they were on the same team.
I know.
Unless he's threatened her.
I mean, it very well is possible that she is on a cruise ship with no signal.
That cruise ship was a massive lie, wasn't it? That was just a way of telling the kids, this is why I need to go, too sweet.
I would love to get a job cleaning on a cruise ship.
Do
you think it's really glamorous?
No.
I think...
Not if you're on that poop deck documentary.
Poop deck. I think it would be fabulous if actually Claire Sweeney did go on a cruise.
Yeah.
Do you think she's probably done it?
Yeah, I keep confusing her with Jane McDonald sometimes, and she's obviously all about the cruises.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Claire Sweeney is entertaining the troops. She's done it all.
Entertaining the troops.
Yes, exactly the same as going on a cruise.
It is it's very similar. It's like being in the Navy.
Yeah, exactly. Now I wonder, could Ross have told her, you get on that train or plane or wherever it is, boat, underground, whatever. But if I hear from you again, if you have any contact with anyone again, I will...
But what's he got on her? He's got no power.
No, he could threaten the kids. And she clearly cares about those.
What's he going to do? He's not going to kill the children. That's silly.
No, but he could threaten it. Oh,
I'm sorry, but I hate... Do you not find it really
stupid? He could even say, I'll do to you what I did I'll do to Hope what I did to you.
Do you not find it's really stupid when people threaten stuff they clearly wouldn't do, but a character believes it, and then... I just think it's silly. Anyone, but it's really... That's lazy, because you can say anyone... That's like... Gary could say to Kit, if you tell the police that I helped Sarah, I'll kill whatever that kid's called.
Harry. But I think that because...
And Kit could say, if you don't go to the police, I'll kill whatever your kid's called.
All I can do is believe that at this stage, Cassie is genuinely scared of Ross, which is what, this is what Claire said to me about why she didn't name in the Ghoulies in the Ginnel.
Okay.
She said she was genuinely scared of him, and if he said, I'm going to mess these kids up, or whatever, maybe that would be enough. That this is probably, if I was working at Coronation Street and I was thinking, look, we need to have something in the back pocket for in case we want to bring her back.
Right, so the plot relies on some people blindly believing something that clearly isn't true, and other people doing the complete opposite of that.
Hey, I don't know. I'm just trying
not believing things that are clearly true.
I'm just trying to give Corrie a get out clause here.
It's such a coincidence as well that it all works out that the non-believers and the believers believe the opposite things are the things that actually would make the whole plot stop.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So Tracy is at number 9, telling Tyrone that Ross has persuaded her not to call the police on Cassie. And then Ross comes in and is like, well, you know, she's off now.
No, he's not. He's saying, where is she?
Oh, all right then.
Because Fizz, this is what Fizz picks up later in the week, doesn't she? He's acting like he doesn't know where she is.
I hope she's gone forever.
Whereas later in the week, he says that he dropped her off at the station.
So he takes Tracy home, and on his way through the hall, he takes out this picture that has been in the envelope.
I think he needs to go and hide it at the waste ground, along with Gary's murder weapon and possibly also Jodie's gun at this point. Imagine if Kit, when he was searching for the bloodied pole, he's like, oh my God, there's a gun here.
And of course, the picture in the envelope is H from Steps.
What?
On Tuesday, Tyrone and Ross are having a little laddie laugh about in the kitchen, and Fizz is like not happy at all. And then Ross is kind of like, ... oh, I was going to look for a flat, but it's in Ordsall, ... That's not very close, ... And Tyrone, the lovable idiot, kind of gives Fizz a look, and she gives him a look like, he's not moving in here. So, in the pub, Steve asks Ross about what happened to Cassie, and Ross is like, I don't know, well, I guess she went. And Steve's like, well, I saw her getting into your car. You've written cab here. You're really invested in him being a cabbie.
I am.
I just dropped... Okay, yeah, all right. I gave her a lift to Piccadilly.
See, I think then Fizz and Steve needs to put their heads together and see, because they're both very invested in finding where Cassie is, and they've both got reasons now when evidence of him covering up the truth and then backing down on it.
Tyrone comes and tells Ross that Kevin's agreed to let him stay with him, and Fizz is very uncomfortable about this. She ends up being left alone because Tyrone's got to go to a breakdown, which wasn't me, but it could have been. Fizz tells Ross that he's lied about not seeing Cassie before he left, and I know you're lying, and you're acting like you're saying one thing and I don't believe you. You better not put a foot out of line, because I know there's something dodgy about you, and I'm onto you. So watch your back. So he's kind of like cowed by this, but I think it won't be very long before he rallies. So on Thursday, he's getting ready for his first proper day at work. He's had his training, and he's ready to go.
Clear urine sample.
Yep. He's like, right, they go on that side of the bars, and I'm on this side of the bars.
Yeah, that's all you need to know, isn't it?
Open door, keys, closed door.
Highfield's the men's prison, women's is Norcross.
Yeah, if there's a woman in one, not the other one, that's bad.
If there's a character from Coronation Street, they need to sit in this exact spot during the visiting scenes, because this is in the middle.
Always make sure that you pair the latest character from Coronation Street with like a really horrible prisoner who's going to beat them up. Yeah,
and if there is two characters from Coronation Street in it at the moment, they need to be in each other's eye line during the visiting scenes.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But basically, that's it.
That's the rules for being a Highfield prison guard.
You'll pick the rest of it up as you go along. So,
and also your contract is maybe once every 4 weeks you have to come into work.
Yeah, it's one of those 1 day on, 4 weeks off contracts.
You'd think it'd be longer, but no.
No, we're really well funded. We don't want to stress you out. So Tyrone tells Ruby that she and her sister have to stay at the house today, and she's saying, I miss Granny Cassie, and Fizz is the same. So they all go to the pub later, not the kids, and Tracy's telling Tyrone how great Ross is. And she's saying, oh yeah, Tommy O was great and everything, but he was very flaky. Ross is not like that at all.
This is what we've been asking for, isn't it? The justification for why Tracy would have any interest whatsoever in Ross. Because everyone's like, he's not her kind of guy, and I still don't buy it.
They're not suited to each other at
all. Not whatsoever.
There's no chemistry.
I can see what he sees in her, although he does know that she is a murderer now. So maybe he's going to try and use...
she's an ex-con as well.
Maybe he's got Cassie in a prison somewhere. Maybe she's just in a really far off cell. I don't know. But maybe he's testing the waters with Tracy and saying, would you kill again? Maybe. What if it was Cassie?
Yeah, would you kill Cassie? She's annoying.
Maybe I've got her locked up in a cell somewhere.
Just a joke.
Just needs to bumping off. Would you be up for that? Getting away with murder again? That's why he's keeping her around. But I don't buy that Tracy, apart because before I kind of was happy to believe that she was only going out with Ross because it wound Cassie up. Cassie's not in the picture anymore. So what on earth does she see in him other than, you know, what she said? He's not as flaky as Tommy O. I don't buy that.
Right.
But, hey, maybe she's just kind of really horny and she wants to get off with somebody.
On at the bar, Fizz is giving Ross the
head.
Spanish Inquisition about when he dropped Cassie off, saying, "Oh, it's a bit weird. I haven't heard from her. Have you heard from her? I haven't heard from her." And she's still trying to phone Cassie up at the end of the episode and not getting any. It's not even.
It was an answer phone.
It's not even. Yeah, but it's not even Cassie, is it? It's like the person you're reaching is not available. Yeah, but you know, lots of people set up their own answer phone.
Yeah, this was not that. This was a. But I think it was a standard pre-recorded answer phone.
But did it say leave a message? Or did it go?
I think it did.
Get bent. She's dead.
I think it did.
The person you're reaching is out of contract. Try again after the tour of Annie.
Fizz can't go along to see her and Annie because she'll be hauled up on stage. You're the main character, right?
If you're called Annie, get on the stage. Do you think there's a bit like that?
Yeah, like these Annies, they're casting older every year.
She's not called Annie. She's just had a restaurant called Annie.
No, I'm talking about the fact that she looks like her.
Oh.
She's Annie's ginger curly, isn't she?
I'm not involved.
In what?
In talking about anything.
Okay,
I've quit.
fine.
I've done my story now. You do your story.
Right. Well, I'm sure you've got stuff to talk about here, Gemma, because this is the Beyond the Choke story.
You're the very tactful person for this, the right person.
I'm exactly the right person for this. Well, you can give me a nudge if I'm looking like I'm going, the wrong side of tactfulness.
Just to the elephant in the room here. There's an elephant in every single room, in every single house on Coronation Street at the moment. The elephant in the room in this storyline is that Betsy, 1 minute has her phone next to her at all times, and when she actually needs it, it's not there. Yes. I'm just going to address that right now.
That was the possible plot inconsistency this week, wasn't it?
I'm not going to say it's a plot hole, but I will say it was mightily convenient, or should I say inconvenient?
Inconvenient for Betsy.
For Betsy. In the end. So I'm just want to address that because that was my first response when I saw what happened. I feel really bad. And I knew that they were going to stitch Lauren up. I knew they were going to stitch her up because she dares to say that Dylan's a wrong-un and should be. She had more accountability for what she did, which was a mistake, a stupid mistake. She's got way more accountability for herself and sadness and crying and feeling bad than Dylan has shown the entire time. All Dylan's done is sit around acting like everyone's been... Like, he's hardly had any hassle out of anybody out of this.
He got the only people, from
Brody and Lauren are the only ones, and Lisa, giving him a hard time. And he doesn't go near Lisa. He doesn't have to worry about Lisa because Lisa doesn't go anywhere near him. The only two people he gets hassle off of are Dylan and Betsy. Dylan and...
Lauren.
No, yeah, Lauren and Brody. Right? Lauren was crying and feeling bad about herself, and she apologised immediately. And all she did... Well, she did a really bad thing. She left Betsy. Shouldn't have done it. And obviously it was very humiliating for Betsy. But why is Lauren the only one who's taken responsibility for what she's done wrong?
Dylan's taken responsibility.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has. He literally sat down with Betsy this week and did an apology. I know it's never going to be enough. Apology. But from what I'm getting, a press release? What I'm getting out of Coronation Street for this storyline this week is that everyone's done something stupid. They're all as bad as each other.
I know
it's not. I know not everything that's happened here is comparable. But I think what Coronation Street is trying to do is saying everyone on every side here, well, both sides here, has made a mistake. Dylan's made a mistake, obviously, by starting the whole thing off. Lauren's made mistakes by pushing Dylan over and then leaving Betsy on the sofa to wet herself. Brody's made a mistake by having a go at Dylan. I can't remember what else he's done wrong.
Well, he's apparently massively into it as well.
Oh yeah, apparently Brody's into it as well. Lisa's making mistakes by overreacting and shrieking at Lauren and not listening to her own daughter. The only person really, well, maybe there's two, that got their halos shining at the moment is Ryan and Carla, neither of whom have done anything
wrong. Betsy.
Oh yeah, Betsy, of course. Yeah, Betsy, of course, as well. But Betsy is the main victim in this, isn't she? So I'm just looking at everybody else around her, and it's basically, since it's happened, been, I guess, Lisa and Lauren and Brodie versus Dylan.
Dylan is just, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept him weeks after the fact saying, oh, maybe it was me. He's still going, oh, barely touched her, and spending all his time feeling bad for himself and crying about how everybody's thinks he's some kind of sexual deviant. You never heard Lauren going, oh, but don't think I'm a bad person because I left you by yourself. The most important thing is that you still think I'm a good person, not the fact that you're sad. Like, she knew she was crying because she saw that Betsy was hurt and sad, and that was emotionally, like, that affected her because she's actually a decent person underneath all of the terrible mistakes that she's made in her life. Dylan doesn't seem to care about much except for his reputation.
I think he didn't at first.
Well, I don't
and
like
I think
him.
that his initial reaction was understandable, like, hang on a minute, how on earth could this have been me? She was fine after it happened. It was the next day. He was looking for somebody to blame. Sean put the idea in his head that it was Brodie. And, even after that, he was like, no, it wasn't me. But I think this week they have tried to show Dylan having some remorse for it. And clearly they're going down the route of everyone's a villain or nobody's a villain. I mean, I think they're saying in the interviews, like, no villains with this, aren't they? So that's clearly where they're going. Everyone's done something stupid. But sorry, steamrollering everybody into the same level of, like, villainy is ridiculous. I'm not even saying it's the same level.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that Coronation Street is doing that because we've had Lauren daring to say that actually Dylan should be held responsible and that this is clearly misogynistic, and I think I need to give her a book about feminism and tell her what the patriarchy is, because she will understand exactly what has been happening to her for her entire life, right? But she dared to point out that what Dylan has done and that it's bad, right? And she's being punished for it because but the character is then pushed him over and hurt him, and now he's in hospital.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
That's really dumb.
I also didn't like, and I'm surprised you've not brought this up yet.
Oh yeah, give me a chance.
The fact that she's kind of admitted this week, oh yeah, I was kind of projecting because of Joel, and I don't like the fact that the main the person who was not okay with Dylan and Betsy doing this, now it's kind of been, but she had an abusive partner in the past. I get how that is going to influence you, and I get how she would have been thinking about how Joel treated her, but I don't like I don't like it if people are saying, well, the only reason that it was against it is because of Joel.
Trauma.
And I'm sorry that you went through that with your abusive boyfriend, but for everyone else, it's normal.
Stop projecting it. It is like if you got bitten by a dog and then somebody else got bitten by a dog and you went, it's probably the dog that bit you. You should be careful around dogs. And they were like, oh God, you're just being mean about dogs.
Yeah.
Not that men are dogs. But some of them do a good impression.
But Brodie, on the other hand, doesn't have that. Although when he does. He's got it with Lou and Mick, hasn't he? He's seen his parents being abusive towards each other in the past. So it's very easy to say, Brodie's only saying this. He's only so vehemently anti-strangling because he saw his dad take his hand to his mum once. I just want somebody who doesn't have that.
No skin in the game to go, like, objectively, you don't need to have, like, you don't need to go on safari to go, don't let the lion get into the Jeep with you.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you've got some of the characters talking about it, haven't you? Like Sally, for example, she had her chat with Joni this week. I didn't mind it as much as you did. Lots of people really enjoyed that.
I get it's supposed to be funny.
Talk about when we get there, maybe. But so Sally is, she does not have this history of I mean, she probably does. She's been through all sorts, hasn't she, Sally? She's been on the show for 40 years, of course.
She's not innocent. She wrote a rude word on a mirror.
She was in an abusive relationship with Greg Kelly once. That is why she's so anti-strangling. No, I think, but yeah, she's not as big a player in the story as these other ones. But I don't know. Let's have a reminder of what's been going on so far then. So Ryan is being very angelic and wonderful, making her a smoothie on Monday. Hopefully not putting any codeine in it. And she says she's talking.
She's probably been prescribed codeine.
Probably has. Probably.
Or something.
It's probably something, doesn't she? She's saying that Dylan wants to see her, and I want to see him too. I've got stuff to say to him. But I'm really worried about what Mum will say. I do want to give the weekly shout out to Sydney Martin's performance as well, by the way, because say what you like about the story or the decisions that are being made or whatever, isn't Sydney Martin still doing an amazing job with it? It's a very, I don't know anyone who's had a stroke, but I am 100% buying whenever she's speaking of the her stroke voice. I don't know what the right terminology is.
It's probably not that dying.
Probably not. But yeah, she's being amazing, and the frustration in her face when she's not able to get the right word out.
Well, everyone's shouting around her as well, and she's just like, "Oh God."
Yeah. I feel we're supposed to be feeling sorry for Betsy this week, because the main thrust of the story this week has been everybody who saying that they're looking out for her. They're all kind of bickering and fighting against each other, whilst Betsy, poor thing,
just wants to get on with trying to recover, and she can't.
Yeah.
Because everyone's stressing her out. She's going to have another stroke if they're not careful.
Well, yeah, exactly. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that happens. But yeah, Sydney Martin, what an amazing job that she's doing. I'm really, really in awe of her performance these past few weeks. Anyway, Ryan brings Dylan over the house later, and she smiles to him. They also... Sorry, on the subject of that, you retweeted this, I think, earlier, and I happened to see the video of her getting her face cast.
Oh yeah,
that was great, wasn't it? Did you watch the whole thing? It had her getting her face moulded like.
It's scary when you see that happen. I would freak out.
Well, yeah, because we saw on Charlie D'Amello's Instagram a couple of weeks ago, he had to get it done for something or other, didn't he? And it was literally having plaster pulled over your face with these two little nose holes left for you to breathe out of.
I die.
It reminds me of the episode of Murder Most Horrid, and here's a 90s throwback for you. The episode where Dawn French played the children's TV character, and... Murder Most Horrid was a sitcom, a very dark sitcom, starring Dawn French every week, where she is either a murderer or she gets murdered. And this week she was playing a children's TV presenter, like a Blue Peter type presenter. And she gets her face covered in this stuff because they want to make a bust of her. And she's got just like a straw coming out of her mouth, and then somebody comes and cuts off her. Do you remember?
Yes.
And I remember watching that and going, oh, it was cringy. Not cringy, that's not the right word. It's just like, it just makes me, in the same way that thinking about what Betsy and Dylan got up to in the bedroom, just kind of, it's just like, I don't like the idea of having really important parts of my anatomy constricted.
Right, noted.
Does that sound weird as well?
Cut that clip.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of blood and oxygen not being able to get to where it needs to get to, is what I'm getting to here.
It's a super important part of being alive.
It is quite important. So anyway, they did that with Betsy, and this was an in-house...
Well, it's to Sydney Martin.
Sydney, sorry, yeah. This was an in-house makeup artist that did this, and then they kind of moulded her... the right side of her face, the droopy side, and that's sitting there.
I don't know that you're using the right words.
But you can't tell by looking at it that it's prosthetic, can you?
No, you really can't.
They've done a really, really fab job.
Yeah, they've done an excellent job.
It's different to, say, Ryan's acid scarring, because that's something that's kind of sitting there on top, and it's not needing to blend in quite as much. It does obviously blend into the skin a bit, but this has got to, like, you can't see the joins with this, and you really, really can't. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Anyway, Betsy tells Dylan she's not pressing charges because it's not his fault.
Now hang on, this you're going rattling through this, but this is a really important scene.
Well, this
where
is
Betsy and Dylan finally have this private conversation.
Yeah, where she's saying she doesn't want to press charges against him, even though in real life, that may well be that doesn't matter.
I really wish that they had not let her. It's a really controversial thing, isn't it? It's very difficult because, she's a victim of sexual assault basically, and this is a very hard ordeal, and nobody knows really what the best thing to do is. But in like you said, in real life, there would be a very good chance that Lisa would press to have this get taken to court.
Yeah, they don't need her
without
consent.
Betsy. No, you don't.
The problem is if it went to court and she wasn't there.
She would be a hostile witness, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing happened with this skydiving woman who nearly got murdered by her husband, and she refused to help them during the trial, so they had to do it again.
Yeah, I imagine that at this stage, if it did go to court, if it did go to trial, Betsy's lack of statement would probably go in Dylan's favour, but it wouldn't stop it from being...
You don't need... I'm really sorry, but you don't need her because he's confessed to doing it, and the doctors have said it was the cause of her stroke.
I think that would be fine to get him charged. I think that if she didn't say that it happened, if the jury were to be convinced, they're young, he didn't realise, etc., etc., etc.
I'm so sick of people...
I think that I'm not saying it should, but I'm saying I think it probably would. And, whether Corrie will bother going down that route, or whether they'll just say, let's just drop it.
Maybe it's not fair to Dylan, right? Maybe it isn't fair to Dylan. But do you want 100 Dylans and Betsy's if you could stop it by making an example of one?
Yeah, make it a high-profile case.
There are lots of things that have happened where somebody's had to die or have something seriously happen, serious consequences happen to them before everyone goes, oh yeah, maybe it's not just one big party, right? And maybe it's not fair, but Dylan's not a real person, number one, and number two, it would actually stop people from doing this. Because the only person who's suffered is Betsy, and you can't tell me that Dylan being sad for a week is punishment.
He got punched in the face and bashed his head.
He's lucky he only got punched in the face.
We're hearing
Sorry,
other
but
characters.
He hasn't suffered. And anybody watching this is just going to, if this was real, they're all going to be like, well, okay, well, if as long as you make sure your girlfriend doesn't report you, you can do it. It's fine.
I think he's suffering in that he's seeing what's happening to his girlfriend. I think it's not suffering in the same way, obviously, but I think it is fair to say that he's suffering from that. But I will agree with you that I think that, in the world of Weatherfield, we're seeing a few people saying, oh, like Summer, like, oh yeah, I got up to that, oh, I won't do that again. And a few people are saying that. And Sally's having a chat with Joni and saying, don't do this. And Joni's like, don't want to talk about it. But I imagine... No, let me finish. I still think that because Dylan's not probably going to be suitably punished for this, I think that in the world of Weatherfield, just like probably in real life among some viewers, you might be shaken for a little bit, if at all, and then you go back to doing it anyway. And I think you'd say, well, he got away with it, he didn't get punished, or, yeah, she's had a stroke, but she's getting back together again, or it's really, really rare that this would... I think that enough people, sadly, will be able to justify why it's still okay to take the risk. And I don't know what on earth Corrie could do to stop people thinking that.
Send him to prison.
But having him more harshly punished would be something, I suppose.
I just think they've handled this badly.
Anyway, so you said that I was going a bit too quickly, through this.
It was the emotional tone.
Yeah, it's
Dylan reading it like it was just...
They're having their breakfast when...
Yeah.
No, this is Dylan saying, look, you're telling me you don't want to press charges, but you got hurt, that's illegal, so this is him taking responsibility in a way. It's him acknowledging that he did something wrong, and she says, oh, you getting arrested would make everything worse.
Look, honestly, You can't tell me there's not an element of manipulation here, coming to her and going, well, I mean, what's he offering here? What's he saying? He's going, yeah, I did the wrong thing. What do we want to give him now? A round of applause? He's acknowledged finally something that people have been telling him since the day it happened. And he's finally coming around and going, yeah, I've looked it up actually, and I didn't believe it when everyone told me, but Google said it's illegal and I did it and it's wrong.
Unfortunately, Corrie does these issues-raising storylines to get people to learn about things. And here is Dylan having learned about something.
Oh, I've learned about it now. Yeah. Well, you've suffered no consequences. Betsy's the only one that suffered, and it's fine because that's a woman's lot in life. It's just normal. A woman suffers, and a man goes, "Oh, I've learned a lesson here now." No. Send him to prison.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I think that he has. I think that he has suffered in some small amount.
I don't care what. No, he hasn't.
Okay. Well,
no, feeling bad because that's the minimum of a human being to be expected of them. To feel bad when you've caused suffering to somebody.
I know. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have suffered more.
I feel really bad for Ted Bundy.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't have suffered more. I'm saying that he has at least... He's moved on.
Actually, Ed Gein, I feel sorry for him though. I feel for bloody Dylan.
I don't know who that is. I'm saying that he's moved forward from last week or the week before, whenever it was, when he was in total denial, hasn't he?
But that's absolute tosh. He's moved forward from saying he never did anything wrong to going, oh, maybe it's illegal. Oh, it's illegal. What are you doing about it then? What are you doing about it?
Well, exactly.
Nothing.
If he went to the police station and he said, yeah, this is what happened, I suppose, again, if he's kind of really, wants to pay for what he's done, if he wants...
Pay for it, yes.
Then maybe go turn yourself in again for what it's worth. I don't know whether it would help.
Do anything. Then just go, I feel bad and sorry for myself because you're suffering. Do something. Do actually something about it. Like, I don't know. I know that Lisa wouldn't accept anything, but talk to your dad and go, I feel really bad about this. Get Sean to realise what the hell's gone wrong here, because Sean's still stubbornly refusing. Go and live with your bloody mum in London and bugger off and leave everybody alone. Why don't you take some of your stupid pocket money and give it to a stroke charity? Why don't you go to Carla and go, is there anything I can do for Betsy? Even ask. Go, look, does she need anything? He was perfectly happy to buy her a bloody teddy bear, and now he's suddenly like, oh, well, as long as you accept I'm feeling really bad about it, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, no, that's...
Do something. Actually do something. If I felt like I'd done something like this, I would physically want to do something.
Yeah, he's not falling over himself to make up whatever you can.
Him going in there and saying to Betsy, I feel you got hurt and it's illegal, is like saying, almost manipulative to me, saying, gosh, you're not going to actually get me in trouble over this, are you? Because now I've admitted I've done it wrong, I could actually get into serious trouble. Don't make it her problem. Because she's desperate to not make it worse, because I do think that she'd be devastated if this happened to him. But again, I'm saying that this is a story that has been a fictional story about fictional people, and Betsy being sad that Dylan goes to prison is a price worth paying if stupid boys watching this show go, I genuinely wouldn't give a crap if a girl I went out with for 5 weeks got a stroke and went to hospital, as long as nothing happened to me. But it looks like Dylan's gone to prison, and I don't like the idea of that for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree.
What's the consequences for Dylan?
I think that there should be more of a lesson there, and I don't think that they have made it strongly enough.
I don't agree with the whole no villains thing, because you're doing a television show where every other person's a bloody villain.
Yeah.
So why not make the person who's given someone a stroke because they choked them in bed, why not make them a villain? Well, who are we protecting here? Who are we protecting? A person who's not real to maybe save other people from this happening to. I'm sorry, but there are loads of people, and it's not just boys, there are loads of people who don't care if nothing bad happens to them.
No, I know.
That's why we have laws. I get really annoyed about this. I think Dylan should go to prison.
Well, it was very satisfying, at least, when Lisa walks into the room, doesn't she, and orders him out. And this is hilarious because this was what day was this? Monday. This was Monday's Twitter meltdown of the day, apparently, which I was completely oblivious to. Well, just everybody saying, "Oh, why are they making Lisa so horrible? Why are they showing her like this?" And I think partly it is a case of she's not listening to her daughter. And I think, like I said earlier, Lisa is at fault in some way for not respecting her daughter's wishes. Although she did immediately, as soon as Dylan left, and Betsy was just like, "No, I don't want anything to do with you." She starts getting in a flat.
Okay,
Lisa then goes and apologises. But I found it very, very satisfying when she was having a go at him. When that was a great performance of anger from Greg Myers.
Maybe I shouldn't say this, but Betsy is she's the victim and she's very young. Okay, she's very young, and this is horrendous. But she needs to think about how her mum feels about the fact that the boy who put her in hospital is come round and they're having this private... Like, you need to realise that there are more consequences to what happened than just what happened to you. Because Lisa is suffering and Betsy has not acknowledged that Dylan has hurt more than Betsy. And I know it's like the least of everyone's problems, but it does feel quite frustrating for Lisa as a character to not have anyone really acknowledge that she is absolutely correct to be upset about this. And that
I don't know what else Lisa should have done differently.
What's she supposed to do?
If she walks in and finds him in there...
She said he's not supposed to come round and she doesn't want him there.
Yeah. For very good reason.
I did think she was being really patronising later in the week where she says to Betsy, "Well, when you have your house, you can have whoever you want round. This is my house and Dylan's a bastard." Like, okay, like how this girl was supposed to be going to London by herself to live. If you come round to her house and she's like, well, Mum, this is actually my house and maybe I want you to take your shoes off in the hallway. Thank you very much. I think that Lisa would probably walk straight out and drive all the way home. Don't you think?
Yeah. No, when Lisa walked in, I was like, yes, that's exactly how a heck of a lot of parents would have reacted in exactly the same position. So I don't think that was out of character. I didn't think that was an unusual reaction.
No! Scare the crap out of the little git. Get him to get the hell out of your house.
Well, what's the alternative? Just kind of stand there clutching her pearls in the kitchen and think, "Oh, hope he doesn't do it again."
Oh dear. I don't want to, but Dylan, can I get you a coffee?
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed... No, get out of my house, you monster.
Yeah.
She's the one who, after Betsy, she's the one who has the least responsibility to forgive and move on. This is her baby.
Yeah,
this is her beautiful daughter who had her life ahead of her.
God, I'd really want to know what Becky's making of all this. Surely Becky has been told. Like, I'd love to see that scene. I want to see her try and break out of prison.
I want her to break out of prison and kill him.
I want to see something. I want to see, like, Becky... getting a clause into Lou or something because of Brody's involvement. Because Becky and Lou, if Brody is anti-Dylan at the moment, then Lou would be as well. So maybe they team up together to say, right, let's get out of this.
Bust out of prison. They're like, right, Sarah, come on, let's go. We're all getting out of it.
We're all getting out of it together.
Bloody men, eh? Right.
Anyone else? Any other characters in here at the
moment?
Bloody
Theo.
Only 3 at the moment.
Bloody Theo, bloody Kit, bloody Dylan. Let's get out of here. Let's line them all up and shoot them in the head.
Oh, dear me. Anyway, that's the end of that scene. Indeed, the episode for this story. I just feel like
this week was about feeling bad for Dylan, and it will not work on me.
I kind of left the week thinking... Go on, Bennett, these bloody kids, these bloody teenagers, I'm not saying they're all as bad as each other, but they do all need their heads banging together. It's what I think they're trying to get across as well. Yeah,
but they're not all equally bad.
No, they're not.
No, but Coronation Street is treating them like they've all done the same amount of bad things.
It did seem a case of, well, Dylan's done this, but now
really
Lauren's done this. I'm
really struggling with Dylan as well, because, Brody and Lauren have been shown to have had really troubled childhoods, okay, and they don't react well, and part of a lot of people's problems who are in these situations like Brody and Lauren is that they don't react very well to any kind of stress or adversity. You know, they lose their temper, they're violent, and they react impulsively.
Yeah, Lauren especially.
And they do. You know, they pick the wrong things. They do the wrong things all the time, and it always comes back on them, and they end up being punished by karma or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the result of their actions. But Dylan is just nothing bad's happened to him. Really, he got bonked on the head because he didn't know where the curb was. It's his own fault, right? Ends up in a hospital to try to make everyone feel guilty. But what has been in his childhood that's been traumatic, that he keeps making these really bad decisions and other people suffer? Can you see how Brody and Lauren make poor decisions because of their troubled upbringing that cause themselves problems and strife? But Dylan has had nothing bad happen to him at all. He went to London and he was raised by his mum, Violet, and whatever that dopey faced idiot was that she went off with. Jamie.
He only hung around for a little bit.
They went off together, whatever. Single parent is not the same as what happened to Brody and Lauren by a long stretch of the imagination.
He's had a tragic time with knife crime, Gemma.
No, that was part of his story of making stupid, bad decisions that cause other people pain and misery. He's like this middle-class moron who's dabbling around. Nothing bad ever. He's like Teflon. Nothing bad ever happens to him, but all of his bad decisions just get hand waved away. He's got no reason to be as irresponsible and selfish and stupid and destructive as he is. I'm not saying that Brody and Lauren, or, you know, they have the reasons that they are doing stuff make sense. It's not an excuse. They have to work on themselves. They're not real. But Dylan, what is his problem? What is this boy's problem?
Yeah, it's like, fool me once, shame on me.
Fool me twice, go to prison.
Yeah, like you've already done something stupid with the knife there, Dylan.
And he never gets hurt. He just gets sad about it.
He did get hurt, literally, on Tuesday's episode.
It doesn't count. He bonked his own head.
Head injuries, Gemma, they can be quite serious.
I know, I was wondering if he was going to get paralysed, honestly. When he laid down on the floor, I was like, don't give me that. Get up, you lazy bugger. Take yourself to hospital.
Oh, God, I really want... in some ways, I want this story to kind of slowly peter out or just focus more on the recovery or whatever.
I don't want to know.
In other ways, I want to know, like, what is it that Dylan can do that would actually have Gemma on the one episode of the podcast say, you know what?
I feel bad for him then.
Feel bad for him. I think he's kind of paid. I think he's paid for his dues now. I think, you know, even Stevens. I want to know what Corrie needs to do for you to give that reaction.
The more I watch Dylan bumble around and feel bad for himself about other people suffering because of his actions, the more I sympathise with the character Jigsaw in the film franchise Saw. He'd be my number one guy. I'd just set him up by himself in there. Wander around. You have to put your hand in broken glass. You got to stick your head in a blender.
He is a bit of a Saw story, isn't he? It's like, you didn't realise that you had the most privileged life. You were in Coronation Street. You were raised by Violet, you know, away from Coronation Street, and you had a fairly good upbringing, but you threw it all away. You took a knife to a fight. And then you
strangled your girlfriend, and you want me to feel bad for you.
I don't want this to turn too much into an 18-rated podcast, but what would be the trap? What would be the ironic trap that would be there? I'm sure we can think of something that would be a bit too squeamish for some of our listeners.
Can you pass me that bit of paper?
What bit of paper?
I'm going to do a diagram.
No, I've got the cat on my lap. I can't move. Do it later. Show me later. Right, Tuesday's episode. Moving on.
I've said many times before, my violent impulses and my judgmental nature, I do not necessarily believe that I should be the one in charge. I mean, like, I'm not the moral authority, right? I think that people think I am, that I think that about myself. I know that I'm wrong. And I shouldn't be in charge of, like, deciding what happens to people.
You do say that sometimes you over-exaggerate.
I overcompensate because of
it's a bit like
happens.
Tim. You don't hate him that much.
No, that's wrong. I think that when the show is being so permissive of this behaviour, it makes you feel even... Like, if Dylan had just got arrested, I wouldn't have any bad word to say about him, really.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, he's in prison. What more can you say? But when somebody gets away with it and carries on getting away with it and people die and end up in hospital, it just gets very, very annoying. And I feel really bad for the actor as well. I just want everyone to know I have nothing against any of
Liam and McShane.
No, I really don't. Or his twin brother.
Or Connor, you know. I certainly hope that his twin brother isn't getting accosted in the street. No. Liam said, I don't know if it was in an interview or that it was on his Instagram or something this week, that he's not been paying attention to social media as much recently. God, don't listen to this, but do listen to the bit where this isn't anything about you.
No,
it must be really difficult because he is still only young, isn't he? He's not as young. I mean, he's young. He's not. He's not super young, but equally he's not as old as Sydney is. And it's a really challenging story for somebody of his age.
To a certain extent, you have to live inside your character's head a little bit and help, you've got to justify why they're acting the way they do.
Yeah.
And you have to sympathise with them a little bit. Some of them do. I mean, I remember when we interviewed the actress who played Megan, Beth Nixon.
Yeah.
Nixon. She was like, no, she's horrible, like villainous. She should be locked up and the key thrown away. But she was enjoying playing her as a villain. Like she came in and she knew that was the character that she was playing. I don't think that anyone would be prepared for what has happened to Dylan as a character.
No.
And I think probably in the long run, actually, I would say that it's probably better for the character and the actor that the character gets punished for this, because at least they can hold their head up and go, yeah, well, we moved on from that. That's part of the process of like going through the courts and being punished for something. You're supposed to have a clean slate after that.
Yeah, I mean, what does he need? Like, does he just need to get Lisa's approval now, and then it totally is?
Well, I'm thinking
not
about
approval,
this.
but forgiveness, or
it's not entirely clear to me about what Betsy's feelings are for him anymore, because she doesn't want him to get hurt, and this is it's not exclusive. I always say men and women, blah blah blah, but everyone should be mature enough to understand that I'm talking in generalizations. But it's a very kind of womanly thing to want to feel bad for somebody else even though they've hurt you and want them to not suffer. But I don't know whether that is extended to I actually still have feelings for you, or is it just does she love him still?
I think she still does. I think it's very clear to me
this
that
is not
does.
A relationship that I feel has got a long shelf life with Lisa. Can you imagine Lisa going to the wedding? Yeah,
talk about mother-in-law from hell.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Like, Betsy's like, oh, Mum, we're supposed to be getting ready for going on holiday tomorrow, and Dylan hasn't packed the car. And she's like, oh, wow, reminds me of the time he strangled you and put you in hospital. That's the end of that, isn't it?
But soap characters do have that awful tendency of forgetting things that happened in a previous storyline just for convenience sake, don't they? As we alluded to earlier. So I'm imagining if they are going to continue with this relationship, Lisa will get to the point where she'll say, okay, it was consensual. And I don't want to ruin the relationship with my daughter. I will go along with it, and eventually that will turn into water under the bridge.
Another thing that Dylan could do is apologise to Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very easy to go to apologise to Betsy, because Betsy feels bad for you. She can barely speak, and she's your girlfriend who's not press charges on you. That's true. You've gone there and you've sat there knowing that she can't speak properly and burdened yourself to make her feel bad about the prospect of you going to prison. That's how I feel that he did that. If he was actually sorry, he'd write a letter or go and see Lisa and explain himself.
I'd like to see that.
He doesn't feel bad. He just wanted Betsy to not dob him in.
I think he does.
I don't care what I can. I'm perfectly happy with my opinion.
Yeah, no, I know you are. It's fine.
In fact, it makes me warm.
Yeah.
I'm feeling quite happy.
Well, you don't need anything more to keep you warm in this temperature.
No, I know.
Do you?
It's going to get hot again. Don't bring it up.
Right. Tuesday's episode, we got the speech therapist coming around, right? So Brodie and Lauren are at number 6 at first. And Betsy's wishing she had more privacy because her room's down in the lounge at the moment. I saw it pointed out. Where is the toilet in the Connor Swain household? I believe it is upstairs. So I don't know whether she's got a little bucket or something somewhere, a commode. But anyway, Right, she tells them both about Dylan coming to see her yesterday, and neither are impressed about this.
Bailey boys can put her in a toilet. They can put a toilet in Ken's house for her.
They can.
Yeah.
They'd be right onto that, wouldn't they? Stick it under the stairs.
Put it through just put it through the wall of your neighbour's house.
The speech therapist gets here, and Lauren just gets one more jab about Dylan in there, saying to Betsy, "Look, he's no good for you. Honestly, you need to dump his ass." So the therapist says that Betsy's doing well. She's really, really frustrated with herself, though. They're doing some plosives together, aren't they? And Lauren and Brody leave at this point. But on their way out, Lauren tells Brody that Dylan should be here to see what he's done to her. So Brody gets fired up and then goes and confronts Dylan in the cafe. And Nina has to stop them from having too much of a fight because it looks like it was getting that way. So again, Brody at this point, they're taking down the route of, see, he's just as bad. Look at him, he's violent. He's got bloody knuckles from when he beat up Idris's little victim last week. Everyone's terrible.
But this is a really good demonstration of what the purpose of law and order is. Because people take it into their own hands, and it turns everyone out into vigilantes. Brody and Lauren have both been turned into villains here because they're the only ones who are concerned with making sure that Dylan pays the price. Yeah. If the police had done their jobs, or if they had put him in, at least in custody for a bit, people might let I think that it's admirable that people care about protecting vulnerable people from punitive punishments that might, what's the word? Like, really make their life difficult in the future. I can see that for Dylan, but everybody else gets affected by the fact that he's not gone to prison or been punished. Haven't they? People are suffering because he's walking around free. Who should suffer the most? It should be Dylan because he's the one who did it. But instead, you've got Lisa, Lauren and Brody all kind of like seeing that justice hasn't been done. And these characters are all people that have had terrible things done to them. They know, you had Lisa being manipulated by her partner who lied to her and pretended she was dead. You've got Lauren who was sexually abused and raped by Joel. And you've got Dylan who was raised in a real terrible broken home who ended up becoming ended up in prison and criminal. Yeah. I know that Dylan got punished for the first thing he did, but why stop there?
Right. So this is when we get Nina confronting Dylan in the precinct, don't we? She's having this major go at him, slaps his face with her sharpened claws. I'm sorry,
I shouldn't laugh, but it was kind of funny because she was like, "Yeah!" She's like Catwoman.
She's like the warden from Holes, but you don't like Holes, do you? So you probably don't get that reference.
She's like, this film makes me want to watch. This show makes me want to watch the movie Promising Young Woman again.
She pushes him over, bashes his head on the pavement. There's blood and everything. And then Nina comes along, doesn't she? And she just so happens to handily be there to go and get him rushed off into hospital. Sean's there saying, "Oh, one of these vigilantes must have attacked you, but who could it be?" So Dylan wakes up later and Sean and Nina are there. Dylan's got concussion. He needs to stay in overnight. He tries to not drop Lauren in it because he's a really nice guy. And he says, "I just tripped over," and Sean's like, "Well, hang a minute. What's this cut you got on your cheek?"
He did trip over.
He was pushed. What are you talking about?
Tripped over the curb. I saw it happen.
The curb jumped up and hit him on the back of the shoulder.
Do you know another thing?
On the head, didn't it?
Not that there's this is a never-ending list. Another thing that annoys me about Dylan is that he brought Nina a bunch of flowers because she helped him to the hospital.
Yeah, where's those flowers for Lisa?
I'm sorry, but all of these performative gifts are supposed to make me think he's a good guy. Oh, here's a teddy bear for my girlfriend. Here's some flowers for the girl that helped me into hospital. Okay, whatever.
Honestly.
I think he should run a marathon for stroke charity.
Yeah, Dylan is not wanting to dob anyone in at the moment. Maybe it's because he just doesn't want that to go any further. He doesn't want to open this can of worms. So he says, "No, honestly, I fell over. But then after Sean leaves, Lauren sneaks into Dylan's room and says, I'm really sorry about what happened, didn't mean to hurt you. And he's like, well, you get out, it's your turn now. So Wednesday, this is when we get, do we get the Sally chat on Wednesday or was it Thursday? I can't remember. It was Wednesday because they were talking about this at the garden party last week, weren't they? Her and Fizz, about when are we going to have the chat with the girls, and time is running out because Joni and Shanice are going off to Spain soon, and who knows what kind of strangling antics they'll be getting up to there. So she says,
the continent, is full of
it's very liberal out in the mainland, isn't it, in the continent? So Fizz is like, Sally's like, I got to have
probably like an EU directive.
Got to have that chat. I got to stay calm, no eye contact. So Betsy's going through her therapy. She's moving counters along, isn't she, or trying to with her bad arm. And then Lauren comes around the house and Carla puts Lauren in charge with her, basically. And Betsy says, we need to talk about Dylan. And Lauren says, oh yeah, I've heard that he was in hospital, but hey, who cares? He deserves it.
Well, she's like, what's happened? She doesn't know anything. Yeah. She's worried about him.
But Lauren says, look, I went to see him. He's fine. Just stop worrying about him. Honestly,
she's being very dismissive.
Your worry.
She's not. She's trying to brush it under the carpet. And this is so frustrating because I know lots of people like this where they're quite brusque and kind of they try to take charge of you when you're poorly or something, and they just end up making everything worse because they're steamrolling you and not listening to what you want. I feel bad, Yeah. I don't think that Betsy's never been listened to, like everyone says. Every character's listened to her at some point, but equally, they have their own emotions and reactions to things, and Betsy can't decide how they feel about what's happened. She's the main victim, but they also have had an emotional reaction to something, and Betsy can't control and shouldn't expect to be able to control how they react to things. And I think everyone's trying to tell each other how to feel in this storyline, and it's and that's where the drama's coming from.
Exactly.
Good writing, isn't it?
So good. Yeah. We have the scene later where Dylan brings the flowers to Nina, and Nina and Sean got to chatting about.
Oh, you're a good guy.
Must have been Brody that did
this. Thank you for these flowers.
But back at number 6, Lauren and Betsy are watching telly, but Betsy's still going on about Dylan. I want to talk about Dylan. I want to see Dylan. I'm worried about Dylan. And Lauren admits, fess up, it was me who pushed him. Sorry, but I was just really, really angry about it. And Betsy says, well, this isn't the same as, you doing this to Dylan. You intended to hurt Dylan here. He didn't intend to hurt me, so she's not saying it as much, but it's kind of like
the implication is
what you did was worse here because you actually went out there to hurt him, and it's your fault as well because of this whole thing that you had going on with Joel, and you're just letting that dictate how you feel about my situation.
Oh yeah, she brought Joel up.
Yeah, Dylan is not Joel, she says,
and this really upsets Lauren.
Yeah, for sure. So Sean later on strides up to Brody and accuses him of duffing up his son in the precinct, and Brody and Dylan's like, no, wasn't him, it was someone else. And Sean's like, oh, so you are saying that somebody did attack you at last and it wasn't a trip over. As Sean's like, you've got bloody knuckles, look at him. And Idris is like, to Brody, yeah. And Idris is there, isn't he? He's like, oh no, that's from something else. Don't ask any questions, but that's clearly a few days old, that blood.
Idris is like, okay, can we all stop now, please? I have a revelation. Not only am I Alia's uncle, but I'm also Brody's new dad, because Kit doesn't give a crap.
Well, he doesn't. Sally doesn't. Tim doesn't.
No.
Joni and Shanice, nobody's noticed that he's got clearly bloodied knuckles here.
No wonder this poor kid is like letting Idris use him as a heavy.
Yeah, at least he acknowledges my existence.
At least he buys me naan breads.
Brody and Dylan then start arguing, and this is where it comes out that Brody previously had bragged about doing this to a girl, strangling her, and that he was just unlucky. And I thought it was
Dylan that was unlucky.
Yeah, sorry, Dylan was unlucky. And I thought that was an interesting move, because the way that Brody has been acting, he has been incredibly kind of holier than thou if he had previously bragged about it, don't you think?
Yeah. I honestly, this just annoyed me further, to be honest.
Because it's villainising the people whose side that you had been on.
Well, I guess so. If you're gonna call me out like that, sure. But it just felt like, oh, another example of, well, everyone does it.
Well, it was made Brody look like a total hypocrite here, and I kind of wish that they hadn't done that. They don't need to make out that everyone's done it. But this harkens back to what we were saying in previous weeks, where we had originally thought that Brody had been the one that was encouraging Dylan to do it, and then last week was like, oh no, it wasn't anything to do with that. They were worried about whether he'd slept with Betsy or not. But now it's, maybe it is being turned back onto Brody, and would Dylan have done it had Brody not bragged about it? It's impossible to point the blame at everyone, because if you believe what Joni says, literally nobody can talk about anything else at Weatherfield High at the moment apart from who's strangled who in the bedroom.
And why? Is this a direct quote?
Yes.
Read it.
Yeah, Dylan says, "There's no safe way to do it. I barely touched a girl and look what happened." So
okay, right. If this is an exact quote, this is, again, the distancing language of somebody who's still not taking responsibility. Was it to touch the girl, or was it your girlfriend Betsy?
I think it was.
Do you not see how that's
maybe it's not a direct.
Well, if that is what he actually said, then that he still hasn't taken responsibility.
He's still saying, "I barely touched it." He is saying that there's no safe way to do it, which I think, despite all of this is the message that Corrie's trying to send here. But maybe it's just, it's not feeling like it's getting that message hard enough, because there are so many characters that are like, oh, everybody does it. It's
They're totally in charge of everything that happens in this story.
Yeah,
they are totally in charge of everything that's being said and done here. There's no hiding place here for mixed messages, because they write the script.
Well, the
so
very
any mixed messages are there entirely on them.
The very clear, and this is the PSA scene, if ever I saw one. That comes next, doesn't it? Because that's with Sally and Joni.
Before you say anything about this, I get why people like this, and I think I could understand that in almost any other situation, this would be quite funny. But this annoyed me like you won't believe, because it turned this whole thing into a big joke. And I can see why Sally used that approach with Joni, because it worked on her. It worked on Joni. But Sally and Joni are having a conversation on a television show. And all this did to me was trivialise it.
Oh, by just saying, oh yeah, people that do that are the sort of people that super glue their hands to their face, lol.
It was patronising and silly.
I thought it came across as a bit too patronising.
And excruciatingly embarrassing. And I totally, look, I don't want to criticise anybody's performance. This would have been great in almost any other circumstance. But the stakes in this story are so high, and Corrie has done such a bad job of this story so far, of showing consequences for anybody except for Betsy, that I just think it was just poorly handled, and it kind of made the whole thing into a joke, and Betsy's still there sitting, unable to speak properly and unable to move her arm. It's not really funny. It's not really funny. They could, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to break down barriers and make it easier for people to have conversations. But I still think that it's still, at the end of the day, everyone's had a funny joke and a laugh about it. Dylan felt bad and he fell over a curb, but Betsy's still, suffering because Dylan hasn't been punished. And Matthew Clark can superglue his hand to his face all he wants, but it's just not a joke. How many other sexual assaults will Coronation Street make a joke out of? Why is it this specific one that it's okay for Sally to tell a funny story and make it silly? I know why she did it. I know why she did it with Joni, and it worked. It did work on Joni, but it didn't work on me, and it's a television show.
Yeah.
Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know that I'm being really harsh, and it probably not everyone's going to agree with me, but I just wanted to give that perspective. I think that having a jokey, funny, light-hearted chat with, especially because it's her, foster daughter. She's not the mum. She's talking about something really difficult, and it would be, I think, the correct way to approach this conversation as Sally with Joni, to talk to her. But maybe we didn't have to see this conversation. Maybe we should have seen Fizz talking to Hope and Ruby.
Yeah,
somebody serious having a serious conversation about.
I don't know
this.
whether they would have made it serious with Hope.
Yeah, I know.
Like Hope probably would have been like mega sarcastic.
But can you imagine Fizz making a joke about it with Hope and Ruby?
I think that a lot of Sally's lines could have been given to Fizz if they'd wanted to do it that way.
It just really upset me because I think it just reflects really poorly on the whole situation. And I really like Sally as a character, and I think Sally Devenor's an amazing performer. And I also, Joni's a really interesting character, and I really liked it. If only it had been in conjunction with something, another conversation, or just not at all. I just think it trivialised it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I don't think everyone agrees. I don't think everyone thought that. Lots of people really liked it and thought it was funny.
I didn't mind it as much. I know I didn't love it as much as everybody seemed to love it online. But that was partly just because of the very patronising way in which Sally...
It was totally in character. And Sally Devonor did a really great job. And Savannah, she was great in that scene, and it really felt real and honest. And it felt like the conversation that needed to happen.
Especially like at the end where she can't get away quick enough.
Those two characters needed to have this conversation, but we didn't necessarily need to see it because of the way Coronation Street has really, I felt, not handled this.
It is interesting how they even decided to have that conversation with Sally and Joni.
It's interesting.
I can't remember how old Joni is at the moment.
Why those
but
two
if
characters?
I was thinking about, which characters at the moment might be getting to that age where they're thinking, going into the bedroom. And I don't think,
there's not many.
Hope's still 15, and it's like, I don't necessarily leave it until you're 16. I can't remember. I mean, it might be that Shanice is even older. I honestly can't remember. So Joni is even older. Shanice definitely isn't. She doesn't need to hear this conversation.
She needs to block her ears up.
But yeah, it is. I wouldn't have ever thought that Sally and Joni need to have this conversation. But yeah, I guess.
Well, her mum's
maybe
not there.
they do. Yeah, Mum. Yeah,
and if what Dylan said about Brody is true, then who knows what she's heard him say.
That's true.
And it's, I being a parent is the hardest job in the world, and Sally is taking on this for Lou, and everybody has, when they're growing up, they have this idea about my parents don't understand blah 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 blah, and when I'm a parent, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. But you're not parenting yourself. You're parenting a whole new generation of children with a completely different set of challenges that you would never even imagine. Nobody would have imagined that when we got to this era, children would have pornography on their phones, watching violent pornography where women are degraded in the way that caused Dylan to decide or Betsy to decide that's what she wanted. Yeah. Right? How are you supposed to prepare yourself for that?
When I think, we had lots of people that were shocked that this behaviour even goes on in the bedroom. And I think I was, partly a bit surprised at first, but then afterwards thought, actually, no, it's not surprising at all. The fact that Joni was saying, everyone's talking about it. Everyone talks about how they do it everywhere. Apparently everyone does it. And it's like, when I was that age at school, nobody was talking about
anything like that.
We
had a girl in our class who thought that a mummy and a daddy had a garden they planted a seed in. I know that was bad. I know that's bad, but I don't think this is better. This is not the solution.
I don't know whether it was I was not hanging around the people that would be talking about that. I don't know whether it was to do with. I probably was. I don't think.
Really?
I don't think many of the people in the nerds room
were
getting up to stuff. But equally, maybe it was just because it was a boys' school, and I think that an awful lot of us were. Didn't have anything to do with girls.
I know that people don't agree with this as well
because they weren't around.
But I do think that boys and girls should be separated. I'm sorry, but I do. I was at girls' school and I couldn't thank the Lord enough for it because I didn't have any pressure at all. There was no boyfriends. There was no fights over boys. None of that happened because we weren't around boys. And I know that boys do better in mixed sex classes, but girls do less well. Girls do better by themselves.
Yeah, I wonder whether
So and I'm a girl, so that's...
I don't know whether it's more to do with that, in the mixed sex schools when we were
can't
younger?
imagine
Was everyone going on about it and we were just completely sheltered? I don't know.
Imagine being
but then
a
I thought, well, maybe it doesn't surprise me these days because
Yeah.
children are exposed to a lot more these days than even we were back then.
Imagine being a poor little girl going through school at the sort of similar age to these kids, knowing that the boys are looking at this stuff on their phones.
Yeah, I know.
I know that girls look at it too, but we can't pretend it's this. You know, there's a power imbalance going on.
Anyway, so that was that scene.
Yeah,
Lauren
that
goes
scene.
round to speed dial later. And
she just explains like.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times
strangling.
Coronation Street really is not sure that it's explained it properly because we hear it about 500 times, but I still don't think they've done a good job of explaining.
What would you want them to do?
Put Dylan in prison because it all is about. It's all about, constricting and it could cause damage to your body, right? Most people are really risky with their own health, aren't they? Like, that's why we smoke and drink and people take drugs and drive fast cars.
Too much chocolate
and
for
eat,
my case.
Yeah, eat red meat and don't have vegetables. But if you said, right, if you have a cigarette, you're going to prison, people would go, oh, maybe I won't,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. The idea of...
a more immediate.
I could accidentally hurt somebody is not as terrible as I could go to prison. That's worse because it affects you.
Yeah.
And especially younger people have, I hate saying this because it feels really mean, but your brain is still developing and you're not completely... This is why there's less culpability for younger people. Like you're not responsible. Your brain's not developed enough, so you don't really think through. But if somebody scared the crap out of you with real proper consequences, I don't know. I just think this whole story is just awful. In case you didn't know,
I do get that.
But again, all
I'm
the
still
writing,
finding it very interesting.
Writing and performances, and the conversation has begun, hasn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. It's hard because you say, well, what do you want it to turn into a Dr. Gaddis explains Lyme disease type speak to the camera almost to tell us? No,
I'm done with it.
Well, I don't think the Corrie is done with the story, so we will see where it goes. Just let's whiz through the rest if we can. So Lauren goes to find Dylan at speed dial later and says, thanks for not dropping me in to it earlier, because Dylan still didn't say that it was Lauren that pushed him over, did he? He just admitted it was somebody. And he says, look, I hate myself for what I did. Maybe, she says, I was a bit too influenced by what happened with me and Joel. Oh, I wish they hadn't done that. And I overreacted because I thought that I could trust you, actually. If Betsy says you didn't intend to hurt her, then I believe her. I didn't think that was ever, up for debate, was it?
I think focusing on the concept that you have to have done it with violent intentions is missing the point entirely. And it is very similar what happened because Lauren didn't intend for Dylan to hit his head. She did mean to scratch him on the face though. So it is kind of similar to what happened, but the consequences are so much greater and nobody goes around saying, oh yeah, you can just fight with someone and it is fine. Like, we all know that weird things can happen in a fight.
Yeah.
Nobody goes into a fight thinking, oh, no one will get hurt through doing
literally,
this.
He's been very lucky by how he's turned out from that, because a head injury can be incredibly serious.
Yeah.
And he could have...
I actually would have preferred him to got paralysed.
Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe then he'd get a taste of his own medicine, but the only bad thing would be that Lauren would get in trouble about it.
That is true.
Well, then honestly, if that had happened, then everyone would have been crying over Dylan more again. He's not real.
Right. Well, don't get too angry about him then, alright?
No, but why don't you send him to prison?
You never know. You don't know. He could be there next week, couldn't you? Have you seen any spoilers for next week's, Corrie?
How much money would I have to give ITV/Coronation Street to send Dylan to prison?
I don't know. I hear they're a bit desperate on the money side of things at the moment. It's probably less than you'd think.
Do you know how when you go to a zoo and you see, like, on the penguin thing, it's like, oh, this penguin was sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Blah, blah, blah. Like, at the end of it, it's like, this storyline where Dylan goes to prison was sponsored by
Can you imagine
Conversation
that?
Street.
Can you imagine sponsor a storyline?
Yeah, I would. I'd do it. How much? Should we do a GoFundMe?
Well, you know, Ian McLeod does like listening to listener suggestions, doesn't he? So maybe this could be another thing that we could do.
Right. Okay. Let me just check. No. Let me just check.
How much money in the account? I don't.
It's loading up.
Okay.
I have to spend some money on a GDPR course the other day. So, why is it being so slow?
Look.
I think I've got £32. No, I've got £46.
£46 in your bank account, Gemma.
Oh no! Look, it's just gone down to 34. It literally just went down to £34.
£34.45p. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna do it, is it? Right. Lauren goes back home and finds that Betsy's not been able to get to the toilet, or seemingly her mobile phone.
Well, hang on, you've brushed over what happened. Lauren goes in to get okra fries to take back to Betsy to apologise because she's learned her lesson that Dylan is very sad and that he's actually a really good guy. And that she takes it as a peace offering, but when she gets there, Betsy's in an absolute state, crying and devastated because she has been unable to get to the toilet without assistance.
Mm-hmm. Nicely put. I was just about to say it in exactly the same way.
And she reveals quite dramatically, with a literally reveals this wet patch.
Takes away the
as Carla comes, and she's the one that discovers this.
So then she orders Lauren out. Everyone's just been ordered out of places.
And Lauren's just sobbing and feels devastated.
Yes. Thursday, we've got more of Lisa being bossy, basically, and not listening to Betsy. She says, Lauren's not welcome here anymore. Lisa's not going to be happy until nobody can come and see her precious daughter.
Do you know what I think she needs to do, which is what I do, is just have a list of people that are allowed in. She had this problem with Becky. I'll put a list of people that are allowed in, and it's really
your name's not down, you're
Ryan,
not coming in.
Carla, Lisa, Betsy, and that's it.
Sorry, Sally.
No one else is allowed in the house. But she doesn't like it when anyone else comes in than those four people, does she? She doesn't like Sally coming in. She doesn't want Lauren coming in. She doesn't want Dylan coming in.
Yeah. Right. Finally with the storyline, we get a scene with Ryan letting Lauren in later before nipping out because he's been the good guy, maybe, or the more understanding of Betsy. Betsy doesn't want to ban Lauren from coming in, presumably. So Lauren's kind of very sheepish and asks Betsy, are you all right? Sorry about this whole situation. And Betsy's still obviously very, very upset with her. Lauren has a cry about what she went through with Joel, but then she realised...
she says, I felt really ashamed about what happened to me, and because it was to do with sex, and I was a victim of what happened, and I was overreacting because I wanted to protect you from feeling the shame that I felt, and you shouldn't feel ashamed, and neither should I.
End of discussion, and indeed the story for this week. God, what will next week bring? Hey, what should we do next?
Who's
Debbie?
Who's going to bring... Who is Dylan going to bring a gift to next? To absolve himself?
Like you said, I think that having him attempting a apology with Lisa...
But the thing is,
of restorative justice.
Yes. The thing is, though, the way Corrie is written, she'd go, oh, gosh, I can't believe it, what you've gone through. I feel bad for you now, Dylan. And I'd be like, no!
Oh dear, you can't win.
He literally cannot win with me because it's gone too far at this point. It's gone too far. Betsy seemed madder at Lauren for leaving her to have help go to the toilet than she was ever mad at Dylan.
Yeah, she wasn't mad at Dylan because she recognises, whether this is naively or not, that it was an accident that she consented to.
She said that she wanted it to happen.
Yeah. She didn't want to be left alone without access to the loo. No,
that's true. But we all live in a society where if this is permissible, then women end up in hospital. So you can't consent. It feels as though Betsy's consenting for the entire world. That's how it feels like Coronation Street is trying to say. Like, if she says it's fine, then it's okay. It's not okay.
The story is not over yet.
So many women have said, this has happened to me and I didn't, this guy just did this to me out of nowhere. How many stories have you heard of people saying that? People have written in, and I've read stories about it on Twitter and threads and on Reddit. People saying, this happened to me. If anybody watches this and thinks, well, I'm sorry, but it just feels like such a missed opportunity to actually say, just don't ever. It's anyway. Well,
I wonder whether they would ever, and I don't wonder whether, because I know they wouldn't, whether they would have a story where a character does it because they've heard about it from.
Oh God!
Them talking about it, and obviously Corrie would not do that because that's saying, well, if you raise awareness of it, then it can be a bad thing. But
well, I mean, to get into my true crime hat again, there is a case going on at the moment in America where a woman from the UK in Portsmouth went over to America, paid a man to torture and murder her.
Really?
And she's dead.
Oh gosh.
Did she, you can't consent to it.
People.
No, it's not that, Michael. You okay, you're just living in you can't pretend the choice is freely made when you live in a world that pressures women into doing things like this, and it creates it's just not a freely made choice. I
genuinely worry a little bit that some people have heard of this through Coronation Street and then decided to try it for themselves.
Well, it's not, and it's going to be...
Despite the very clear consequences that it's had for Betsy, it's also
not
been made
for Dylan.
Apparent that that's...
You can do it and it's fine, because as long as the girlfriend doesn't say anything or get you in trouble...
Well, no, what I'm just saying,
that's what I'm saying.
The way it's been made, it's like it was not a freak occurrence, but... I think some people might have thought, oh, people are doing that, are they? I wonder what that's like.
Well,
I'm sure what happened to Betsy is not going to happen to me because everything's to the extreme on Coronation Street.
This is the trouble that you have with any kind of education about risky behaviour, especially like the DARE program in America about drugs. And they went around and told everybody that marijuana was the same. They were all the same bad. Like marijuana is the same as cocaine and heroin, and it's not. And so when people tried marijuana, they were like, well, what's wrong with this? And then it ends up educating you about things. But where do you draw the line? How do you know who to tell the risks to? Do you tell it to everybody and then you risk informing people about choices that they might not have made otherwise?
Yeah, exactly. How many children went off and played on the train tracks when we were younger and they would have never have thought about it before?
It's also like 9/11. Like, nobody, people hijack planes all the time. It was like, it happened all the time, but nobody flew it into a building. But now that's opened it's like opened the gate for it happening again because people have got the idea in their heads.
Let's talk about Debbie.
So maybe Coronation Street doesn't have to tell us about every single thing that you could ever possibly do wrong or have done wrong to you, because then we'll all end up doing it. Because I am very impressionable, actually.
I think I'm still genuinely more on the side of it probably isn't a bad thing for Corrie to have raised awareness about this. And I think that it will cause some people, not everybody, but I think it genuinely will cause some people to think twice about it, or for people to say, no thanks, mate. That's just normal, please.
Just normal. Right. Who decides what that is? Let's not go there. Right. So, poor Debbie. She has decided to not drink anymore, which she was told not to do originally.
Is that the worst thing that's happened to Debbie recently, that she's not having?
She can't have any more champagne. Then but she's a bit hungover because she decided to go out of the bang, apparently. She's in the cafe and she comes out. No, a lady comes into the cafe.
Comes in, confused
and,
lady.
Looking for her daughter, and she walks out.
Well, she's a bit snappy with Debbie, isn't she? Like, Debbie's like, "Oh, you're looking for somebody," and Debbie's, was it Debbie? Yeah, it was Debbie. I've written Cassie here in the notes, but I'm sure it was Debbie. And Debbie's trying to ask her, and she's like, "Oh no, you don't know her. Leave me alone," or something.
Yeah, she walks out. So then Asha comes and finds Sienna. This is still in the cafe, and Sienna is not
happy later on
about the fact that Asha and Nina kind of accused her of stealing stuff, and says, I don't want to go out with you anymore. And they're talking.
That happens later on, doesn't it?
And then they're talking, and Debbie comes over and says, "Look, girls, stop arguing. Life's too short."
Oh, yeah.
She goes outside, and the woman that she saw earlier is still there and confused and agitated.
Yeah, she's standing in the middle of the street. Yeah.
And Sienna comes out, and it's her mum. So this has been the secret that Sienna's been hiding this whole time, is that the phone calls that she's been having and having to rush off has been because she's caring for her mum who has dementia. Not a secret
child, as we hypothesised.
Not a secret husband.
No.
Stay gay, Sienna, that's what we say. So she's there in the road with her mum, trying to talk to her, and the mum doesn't recognise her at all, and they're kind of having this tussle. I'm not sure how much this is the correct way to treat somebody with dementia, because Sienna's like grabbing her, and they're kind of, but I don't know what you can do.
Don't talk to Corrie about the right way to grab somebody at the moment, because we had that with Betsy and how she was moved into the chair at the hospital, haven't we?
Oh yeah. Well, so
I'm going to say that Sienna should know the right way of doing it.
Maybe this is the right way to do it.
She's medical at home and medical at work.
So they're both.
The woman's just like, leave me alone. I don't want... Because she's saying, have you seen my daughter? She's got brown hair. That's what she said to Debbie earlier, wasn't it? And Sienna's just like, Mum, it's me. And the woman's just like, no, not having any of it. And I would like to say as well that this woman... I don't know what the actress is called, but I thought she was a very convincing and harrowing and tragic portrayal of this woman who clearly didn't know, what was going on. I thought that this was a very stark scene. I think that everybody involved in this particular moment and the other moments with this character of the week gets an A for me.
She's your character of the week?
Not necessarily. Okay.
I was triggered by the phrase.
I thought she was great.
Yeah.
But this is a bit of a trope on Corrie, isn't it? Having a character who's got some kind of illness being confronted with where they're going to be further down the line.
Yeah, this is like the red shirts on Star Trek who died to prove the situation's serious. Like, Sienna's mum is like Paul's friend. What's her face?
Oh, Shelley.
You know?
Shelley.
I don't know. Well, she just adds a scene.
It was very reminiscent, to be honest. There's also, by the way, Sinead, when she got cancer, she met up with what's-her-face, the kale smoothie lady. This was very early on.
I didn't watch it.
I think you watched that bit. I'm pretty sure you watched the kale smoothie lady. You just didn't watch the final moments of the Sinead story.
No, I didn't. I watched a large amount of it, actually.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. Maybe you're right. You are right, actually. Anyway, they like to do this to show a character coming face to face with what they're going to be confronted with in the imminent future. But with Debbie, we'd kind of already had that, hadn't we? On the day that she gets diagnosed with vascular dementia, she goes into the car park and there's the woman there who is also, I think, not recognising her daughter. I think it was the same kind of thing. I don't particularly mind that they've done it again, because
they've done it again.
This is a year later, and Debbie is 1 year closer to this happening to her. And she's starting to get more of the sort of symptoms, so it's probably hitting her even harder at the moment. And Debbie's just kind of standing there at the side of the road, obviously very anguished by it herself, isn't she?
Yeah. Asher and Debbie are back in the cafe later, telling Bernie about what's going on. And Asher's really worried about Sienna, but Debbie's like super in shock, and she's like, gosh, Sienna shouldn't have to put up with that. No one should. So she's thinking about not just being Sienna's mum, but, Ronnie being Sienna.
Yes.
Or anyone that she loves. So Bernie finds Debbie in the hotel because she wants to check up on her and see if she's okay. And she's like, look, you might not end up like that. It might be something different. And, you don't know how it's going to be. And Debbie's like, yeah, I know. And she gets a phone call. And as she's taking this call, Bernie sees Debbie's laptop, and she's been looking up assisted dying, which is the ritual of every person on Coronation Street with a terminal illness diagnosis. So they have to investigate assisted dying, and then they decide it's not right for them.
I wouldn't say that it's happened so frequently that we can say Corrie always does it.
Well, it's happened twice in the last two characters,
Yeah, it's getting to a stage where it could be.
And now Coronation Street has become just a churning, like, tumble dryer of the same stories over and over again. It's only a matter of time before, I don't know, Fizz finds out that she's got I can't even think of anything. just another cancer, and she's going to go off to... Or maybe Gemma and Chesney find out that Joseph's going to die and they want to send him to Switzerland because that's where the private people go. And maybe Granny Linda will pay for it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I can't have him dying here in England with the poverty people. I have to go to Switzerland.
Yeah, I think Corrie needs to be careful not to revisit the same well every time.
And I hate to say this too.
Just to, wring out a few more tears and tragedy from the situation.
Maybe it is realistic that everyone would have this thought. But equally, are we going to have it every time and it's going to be treated like it's the wrong choice to make?
Because
I don't.
I mean, we had it with Hayley as well, obviously, and Hayley did go through with it.
Yeah, she did it herself.
Slightly differently.
Now this law is sort of going through, isn't it? I don't know what's happened to it, but I know
I can't remember where we are with it at the moment either.
I said before on the show, I've got massive problems with the way that it could be. I think that there's so many ways it could get abused that I'm not sure. But I do think it's a bit cowardly to have every single time everybody consider it and then just never do it. Well, I guess they'll say that Hayley did it.
Yeah, it says 2 against 1 at the moment, isn't it?
But to me, that wasn't depicted as the correct choice because of how it traumatised Roy.
Yeah, I think because Billy was obviously dead against it, but he ended up making a pact and realising that, if this is what Paul wants, then I will help him with it. But I don't think he ever really, really liked the idea of it. But he was there, literally ready to administer the fatal dose, wasn't he? Until the doorbell rang that one time. But it was, I suppose it's easy to argue, well, the reason we've done it with Debbie is because she's big pals with Bernie at the moment, and Bernie certainly has opinions on it, because that's where it kind of goes later in the episode, doesn't it?
Yeah, so Asher and Sienna are in the flat later, and, they're really upset. And Sienna's just kind of at the end of being able to cope with this. And she says, I don't want to put her in a home. And Asher's like, look, I can help you. I can tell that you really care about your mum. And Sienna goes, you know what? Sometimes I hate her and she's not my mum. She's just some horrible person. Yeah,
it's like she's become a different person. It's a good job that Debbie wasn't listening in on that conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, but I can,
I'm sure it's a very natural and human feeling that many people... Feel.
And even, sadly, even people who are caring for somebody who hasn't, is physically damaged but not mentally, still resent the entire situation. And it's really important that you can vent this to somebody that is safe for you to talk to.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to know everything, but you can't bottle this up.
I thought it was quite good writing as well that they had Sienna saying she's not my mum anymore in the same episode as Debbie then kind of says that to Bernie, I won't be Debbie anymore, whereas Paul was still Paul at the end, and it's a different situation for me than it is for him.
But I did think it was a bit early in this whole storyline for Sienna to reveal that her mum is actually not really her mum, it's her sister. So, at this point, who cares? Right, so Debbie and Bernie are talking about this at the hotel, and this is when she says, I don't want to be like that. And Bernie reveals that Paul considered this, and she's absolutely devastated. But in the end, he decided he didn't want to, because he wanted to wring every drop out of life's dishcloth. And Debbie says, look, it's not the same for me. Paul's Paul, but I won't be Debbie. I want to go before I turn into somebody else. I want to be me. And Bernie says, you've got to talk to Ronnie about this. But Debbie says, no, he's going to talk me out of it. I just need, can you just keep quiet, please?
It's nearly the end of the episode. Let's pause this for now. We
can't do any more talking.
It's not an hour long anymore, Bernie, remember.
We don't have a limited time like that stupid podcast that slags us off all the time. On Tuesday, Bernie tells Christina something happened yesterday with a friend, but she can't talk about it. And Christina says, well, maybe you should go and talk to her, not me. So Bernie says, yeah, I probably should do. And leaves Christina just in charge of the cafe, which was really funny.
This is always a thing on Corrie, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, can you just look after the till? I think everybody in Coronation Street has some innate knowledge of how to run a till and small
Christina
business at the drop of a hat.
Know what she was doing.
No, it was quite funny. I wish they'd kind of lent more into that and seen her struggling. Yeah.
Bernie goes to find Debbie at the hotel and says, you've got to speak to Ronnie. It's too big to not. In the pub, this is when Ronnie kind of gets a bit of a wake-up call as well, hearing Asha and Sienna talking about her mum. And Asha says, like, maybe you should consider respite care and, like, one day a week or something like that. And Ronnie goes and sits with James in a booth and says, this holiday we went on, actually, it wasn't as nice as we were making out. It was actually really challenging. It was really hard. Then he gets a call from Ryan. So he goes to see Debbie, and she tells him about this assisted dying and says, maybe not now, but maybe when it gets too much, I don't want to hurt you, like Sienna was being hurt by her mum. And he says, I want to look after you, and then when I can't, we can, look into solutions.
Not those sorts of solutions. He's basically saying there might be other medicines where...
I don't want your life to be cut short by anybody, and not by you. I do wonder if this will be how Debbie leaves the show. Because I can see, if anyone can make Debbie's final moments into heartbreaking, uplifting, funny and sad, it's Sue Devaney, where Debbie is still Debbie.
It's really tough, isn't it? Because if we're being led to believe that there's still a fair bit of time to go for this story, surely Debbie, by the time that comes around, won't be Debbie anymore. You
can't consent to it if you don't, you have to, this is the trouble with assisted dying for things like this, because you have to be able to prove that what you're making an informed decision. And Sienna's mum wouldn't be able to make an informed decision. Nobody would. No, of
course. But I wouldn't be completely surprised if that's where they went. They're like, it's like, this one is going to end their life, this one isn't, this one is. Maybe they're just doing on off, alternating, exactly. But I don't know, it feels like it'd be too sad. But I don't know how, I can't even begin to think how they can do this in a way that isn't tragic. But maybe tragic is fine. Like Paul's death was absolutely tragic and sad and heartbreaking, but it was a brilliant scene. And maybe I just need to, I think I'd rather get something like that than her ending her own life, even though Hayley's death was also a brilliant scene.
Coronation Street really loves to make political statements every now and then. They did it with Hayley twice. The second time it didn't really make too much of an impression because there wasn't the political will in this country to do anything about assisted dying. But now assisted dying is kind of going through House of Lords. I can't remember.
I can't remember where we are.
But it's been kind of posited as a serious thing, hasn't it? It's like it's people are taking this seriously. Coronation Street could make so many headlines with taking Debbie to Dignitas and having her end her life.
Yeah.
It would become a talking point beyond Coronation Street, that in a way that Paul's death didn't.
And there's obviously a lot of people that are very, very much in favour of it.
Definitely.
The fact that it has become so controversial and such a hot topic, it's not just like, well, most people are against it, but a few people think it's great, or the other way around.
I think the vast majority of people think it's a good idea.
Do that? I don't remember what we must have talked about it loads when Paul was talking about it, but I think I remember being surprised how many people were in favour of it before.
If you've looked into the eyes of someone who's suffering and dying, it gives you a different perspective.
I know.
And it's very, it's very triggering to talk about it, but a lot of people who have long-term illnesses like cancer, they just die slowly of starvation because their body doesn't work anymore. And some people think that's a natural part of life, and we've spoken before about how much suffering needs to happen for human being. We seem to think that suffering is part of life. How much do you have to go through before we decide that's enough? I just worry that people get pressured into it, but that's a discussion for a different day.
Let's leave that.
I mean,
until
people
it
are listening.
Comes back again.
People will be listening to us from countries where this is legal, like in Canada, as I believe, and you know, it's very controversial because people, it's not always it's not the thing is, in theory and practice are two different things, aren't they? You know, in theory, you would only ever people would use it willingly because there's no other choice, and it would be sad, but it would be the best thing. Like how you decide to put your cat down or something. Yeah. But in reality, there's many terrible things that go along with it. It
seems like it's ripe for soap plot fodder, to be honest, from abusive doctors.
But can you not imagine a scene, and Debbie feels like one of the right characters to do this with, of her sitting in her bed there, the Queen, you know, holding court, like, here I am, I'm going off now, everybody come and pay tribute to me, I'm going to make a funny joke, I'm going to say bottoms up, I drink my drink, and I'll see you later. Hayley's was like, I don't think sordid is the right word, but it felt kind of grubby and
it was very
sad
private
and
and secret, and don't tell it. You can't tell anyone we're doing this, Roy.
And like, it's illegal, and
don't let Carla and Debbie in,
and then knocking on the door like, oh, help me, you know, oh, we've got to stop her, and the devastation of Roy, he wasn't ready to let her go, and then spent so long after resenting her and hating her for what she did, because he wasn't okay with it. But if everyone's okay with what Debbie decides, and they're sad, but they know that's the end for her.
The fact that it's been brought up, I don't think, and by the end of the week it's like decided, no, I won't. But I think that it will be brought up again, because they had Paul researching it like months before it came up again, wasn't it? Because it was the same story beats. Somebody finds he's looking into it, persuades him, you don't want to do that, Paul. He doesn't, and then later on it comes out, maybe I should actually, and I wonder whether we'll have the same for Debbie. It could work well. Maybe I'm kind of being a bit too hasty thinking no, but it's partly also me just saying I don't want to say goodbye to Debbie at all, and I'm being like Ronnie, thinking I don't want to lose her before I need to. But it's different for me, because as a viewer, I will leave her. She will leave exactly whenever they decide it's time for her to go, whether or not, you know, and however that is that she goes. No matter what you think about it. And yeah, well, you know, whether she goes from a sister dying, or whether she goes from being wandering out around Weatherfield at night like Mike Baldwin did.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing about this is that the way that the show works, they can't have the reality that would actually happen, which would be for her to mentally and physically decline over a series of months in a truly obvious way.
What do you mean?
Well, they're not gonna have. We're not gonna be living with Debbie with dementia to the extent that she's like Sienna's mum for years, which is what could possibly happen.
Oh yeah. But it could certainly get there for a bit.
But you don't die of dementia. You die because of something that is caused by having dementia. Yeah. So what? She's not going to die of dementia. So what is she going to die of? This is the question that Coronation Street's got to answer. And what's the best way of doing it? Yeah,
is it more dignity for the character for
her
to go out with this way rather than... Yeah. No, Mike Baldwin's death was a great death, but it was anything but dignified for the character.
No, but he still had the last laugh, quite literally.
That is really true, actually. That is true.
It was a very soapy, clever way, because, you know, if you don't know the story, he was always rivals with Ken for Deirdre, and then he wanders around in the cold and dies because of that in Ken Barlow's arms, saying, "Oh, I won, I got Deirdre."
Yeah.
And Ken's like, "God damn it!"
but he hadn't got Deirdre, of course.
No, of course. So they
there.
both kind of won in a way. I don't know.
Anyway. I almost think that if, like you say, if they were to go down the assisted dying route, you'd want it to be, well, Debbie was still corpus mentis.
Yeah.
But
you can't do it
would it be a wasted opportunity? Is that the right word? For them to not give Debbie Sue the opportunity to portray somebody who is...
No, because there'll be elements, you know, you're seeing it now where she shrieked at Tim. Those moments will get... closer together.
It's whether or not, like I when Paul was going through his MND, was like, well, they're not going to have him X, Y, and Z, and they did have him not being able to talk. They did have him not being able to move. They really were very, it was horrible. It was confrontational with how much that had affected him, and would they miss out the opportunity to show that with Debbie because they want to send her off while she's still
I
Debbie?
Just think collectively the trauma would be too much for us to watch this happen. But then it's going to be traumatic no matter what.
It's going to be traumatic no matter what, and sometimes trauma can still be an engaging watch, like with Paul's death.
No, I love it. Right, so with Ronnie.
That in mind.
Ronnie says, "I don't want that to end your life." So Debbie goes back to number 5 and says, "I've told Ronnie." They're talking about it, and Debbie says, "We've decided against it." And then she says, "We're going to carry on sticking our heads in the sand and pretending everything's all right." So she's not happy. Way. But she's not happy about this because she's being kind of denied the opportunity to decide. No matter what I think about my personal feelings about this, I can see why Debbie would want this, and I can also see why this would be a really great ending to her story. Mm-hmm. And
I think when she was saying that, sticking her heads in the sand, I don't think she was being sarcastic there. I think that she was just accepting, we will just carry on and see where life takes us.
That's not... No, that doesn't... I didn't read it that way.
She hadn't been long-term thinking about getting off to Switzerland, had she? This is literally something that had come to her the previous day.
But it's like... This is really a weird and twisted and horrible thing to say, but it's like an aspiration. Like with Paul... It's almost a fantasy of regaining control and deciding for yourself, because they're robbed of it, of their bodily agency and their mental capacity. The fantasy of being able to decide on your own terms how you end your life and when.
But not everybody has that fantasy. Some people will say, I just go wherever nature, God, whatever takes me.
What about what I said means that I thought it's a universal thing?
No, nothing. I'm just making the point. And I don't know whether Debbie wants to be in control or whether she just kind of flirted with the idea this week.
Debbie feels like if you're going to do a story where it's a proper medically assisted suicide, not like what happened with Hayley, she feels like the right person, not just because of what's happening to her storyline, but because of her personality.
She does like to be in control.
She likes to be the centre of attention. I don't know if you ever watched that. There's a documentary about a guy who goes to Switzerland and to die.
No, I know the one you mean. I have not seen that.
I have watched it, and it was really emotional and sad, and deeply affecting. But I think that Debbie could make it into something that felt more like a positive, like I'm in control and I'm Debbie and I'm still Debbie and I stayed Debbie to the end. It's an interesting... I don't know if I really considered that as an option for her before she brought this up in the story.
No, and I think just sort of chatting through it with you today has given me a bit of a different perspective as well about it, actually. So,
I mean, it's awful as well because if you're Ronnie, you don't want to lose her at all, and you don't want her to go before she's ready. But we've had this conversation with Billy and Paul.
Yeah,
there's not really a lot more to say about it at the moment, I suppose. So on Wednesday, Asha and Sienna are going to visit a care home to see about the respite care, and Sienna's really nervous, and Asha and Bernie try to reassure her about it. And they come back later and Asha's talking to Dev about it, and her name's Sadie, the mum.
Yes, I knew I wrote it down at some point.
And she's like, oh God, Sadie suddenly had a moment of lucidity and she knew where she was and she didn't want to be there and it was awful. And Sienna feels really bad and she tells Sienna, we can try again, And Sienna's like, I feel like you're telling me, you're trying to pressure me into locking my mum up. Sorry if that interferes with your plans. I think we should break up. I don't have the time or the energy for this relationship. And Asha tells Dev about this. And then this is when Dev talks to Ronnie, who is really staring down the barrel of a gun about this because he's realised how much pressure this is for Sienna.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking more about
That's
this end of life thing, and apparently it's going through the terminally ill adults end of life bill. It's
going through the House of Lords. So I don't think
possibly.
I don't think they're very keen on it.
No, there's lots of people there that aren't particularly keen on it. The 24 to 26 bill died without becoming law.
Why do you keep saying dead and died and stuff?
I'm just literally reading what's on the internet. But yeah, it's something that the proponents of it are certainly not letting drop. So it's going to continue to be a bit of a debate. In the bald face of, no extraneous
influence, everyone should be able to have the right to decide for themselves. In my opinion. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where people are pressured into all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And
let's move on.
I don't like the idea of it.
Let's move. Did we finish? Sorry, I was just looking at that. I didn't even notice that you finished talking about that story.
Sarah Lee, damn it.
Where did we get to with Asher? Did she get dumped?
Ronnie's just Ronnie and Asher. Ronnie's learning through Asher's experience and Sienna's experience about actually it's a bit tricky.
Right.
When someone's got dementia.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I felt bad for Asher this week. I don't think
this is... felt bad for Ronnie as well because he's
for sure.
Jesus Christ.
He's I don't think this is going to be the end for Asher and Sienna. And Asher is literally just trying to think of what's best for Sienna, isn't she?
No, but I think that Sienna's reaction is like, stop trying to lock my mum up. Leave me alone. I don't have time for this. She can't think straight. She's got no time to think.
Yeah. I think
imagine
that she
having no break at all.
It wouldn't surprise me if before long the mum, what did I say her name was? Sadie is given some kind of respite care.
Well, it's her. It's not her that gets it. It's
it's kind of looked after. Sorry, I mean, and giving Sienna some time
horrible.
off, and then she will realise that maybe Asher was not wrong in her suggestions. But hey, there's still more to go
devastating.
with that.
I hate every single medical storyline because it's devastating. Get everyone in a robot body.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then we can strangle each other.
We all love Android, don't we?
We can strangle each other in robot bodies.
Yeah.
It's great. You can take your head off and put it back on again if you want to. Weirdo.
Whatever floats your boat.
The more I think about it, the more I realise it would solve every single problem that humans have, and we wouldn't have Coronation Street anymore because there would be no reason.
Yeah. Everything would just be logical and...
Yeah. I mean, you can't murder somebody and end up in prison if everyone's a robot. Can you?
I'm sure that if there could be some robot soap storylines.
Well, I mean...
Somebody's found dismantled over the place.
Crichton...
And somebody's had their programming redone to steal something. I don't know.
Crichton did end up getting a bit of dementia when he got left on that ship by himself, didn't he?
Exactly that. Yeah, maybe somebody's thrown their robot neighbour into the canal. That's probably not good for a robot.
Yeah, maybe it rains for the first time in 3 bloody months, and your joints get.
You couldn't have a robot soap set in Weatherfield because it's going to be raining all the time there.
The humidity is causing me to disassemble myself.
Right, Sarah Lou done it, didn't she? This was only Wednesday and Thursday this week, right? So Kit's phone man is back on the... I'd forgotten about this.
Why is he... Okay. Oh, sorry.
So he has deleted bits from Kit's...
secret meeting in my own house.
He's deleted bits from Sarah's phone. He's deleted bits from Gary's phone, but he's also kept the juicy bits from Gary's phone, which is what Kit was after, so that you can get the dirt on him.
Gary's like...
Hopefully trying to get him sent down.
What tabs did you open? I've got a special browser on there with the private bit. You didn't look at that, did you? Because that has nothing to do with the murder. Mate. That's my own separate...
He gives a bit of techno babble, doesn't he? That probably means something to somebody, but not me. But basically, he's done what Kit wants him to. Gets an envelope of cash for his troubles, and then it all gets a bit awkward because Bethany and Harry walk in. It's like, what's going on here?
Deal?
I'm sensing a bit of a suspicious vibe here. What's happening?
This scenes with Bethany and Kit reminded me of like the cheesy kind of 90s, early 2000s American spy movie, like TV shows like 24 or like all that kind of stuff, where Kit and Bethany are both sitting at the table on their computers going, I'm just hacking the database, I'm downloading the mainframe.
Oh, that was on the end of Thursday's episode.
I'm sending some coordinates to you. Can you locate the murder weapon? Boop, 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 boop. Unable to. You're going to have to go there in person. Like, okay, what are we doing? Why is Bethany involved in this?
She's a top investigative journalist. He's lucky to have her skills.
It's so funny how much they continually try to push on us that Bethany's some kind of amazing
Just think of the article
journalist.
She could write about this.
It's like, Kit, I can't help you look for the murder weapon because I'm still doing that top 20 air fryers of 2026 story.
Anyway, the reason that Harry is back is because he's got in trouble at Holiday Club for causing a bit of disturbance and chucking tennis balls around and stuff because he's a bit mad about his mum being in prison. What?
Put him in prison.
Yeah, get him in prison before he chucks a tennis ball at a lady.
All the boys should be in prison.
So mean. So horrible. Anyway, Bethany's like, you go to your room, Harry. I need to talk to Kit. Kit, what the hell is going on? Who's this mystery bloke? So Kit spills the beans about what his plan is, which is, he probably could have talked his way out of it, but hey, the plot needs progressing.
He's a policeman. He just needs to say, it was an undercover operation that I've done, mind your own bloody business. Or he could have gone to his man, why don't you meet me down the precinct?
Well, like I said, I think he feels like he could benefit from having Bethany on his side, as we all would, of course. He says, I'm going to try and get this pinned on Gary.
She was the top writer in Heat magazine in 2006.
He says, if Sarah's defence team can show that Gary was the reason that she didn't call the police straight away, she could get away with this.
No.
And the part of me, I'm watching it going, oh, this is juicy, this is exciting, but it's also part of me going, oh, no, that's not what happened. That is not at all what happened.
But I do love this. I think this is great because Kit is doing exactly what I would expect Kit to do. Just being a Ben Copper trying to get his girlfriend off.
Which is why I was kind of liking it.
And being jealous and not realising how blinkered he is.
I mean, Gary did send Sarah off, didn't he? He said, you get home, get yourself cleaned up, I'll deal with this.
This is a really great story because there are so many elements of it where... And this is great characterisation as well because everybody's acting the way that you would expect them to.
It's also not like horribly controversial. We're not going to say anything that's going to get us in trouble.
The most controversial thing is like, did she mean to kill him or not? And it's irrelevant really because we've moved on so far from that now. But yeah, Kit just like leaning back into his dodgy cop ways and Gary's loyalties and like terrible... judgments and criminality, and Sarah being a stupid bloody idiot like she always is, and Bethany thinking that she's smarter than she actually is and getting involved in meddling and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe I need to watch the scene again. But Gary did take control, and if
she wanted him to,
but she wanted him to, and she also did say to him, I remember. It wasn't self-defense because he asked her, was it self-defense?
Well, yeah. And this is...
And so he acted in a way that was protecting a friend who has admitted that it wasn't self-defense.
This is why, again, Weatherfield needs feminism. Because if you kill a man, you should be able to sort out the body yourself without relying on another man to help you. Because all of this is caused because Sarah was too weak to throw the scaffolding pole. I mean, she could have just left it there.
What do you mean?
Wipe your fingerprints off it and run off. Nobody would have ever even thought it was her.
Yeah, that's true.
She confessed to it anyway.
Confessed? She has now, hasn't she? Yeah.
Dumb idiot.
Right, anyway, Kit's going through Gary's data later, and the wording of the text, he says, isn't giving anything away. He was very clever with that. And Bethany says, oh yeah, the GPS data doesn't help either because he left his phone. His phone was at the yard.
It's like it's not his first murder.
When the murder was happening. So, but... It turns out they were at the teenage wasteland the next day, or some kind of wasteland. I may be adding my own.
We always just call it that.
There. Maybe he buried the weapon there. Wow, Bethany, you're so smart.
Do you remember we were talking about all of the whole can of worms with Callum's death and Kylie and David and Sarah?
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible that Bethany is going to uncover this? Because I don't think Kit's interested, and it wouldn't. He would not want to hear this.
Bethany's going to find out about Callum?
Yeah.
No.
Why?
They don't want to reopen that.
But it would be brilliant.
It would be quite juicy.
I would love them to actually to open all of this up again, because I think I've always said that one of soap's greatest strengths is long formed storytelling and following characters through their whole lives. Why would you have a character going through what Sarah's going through and not bring up the fact that this isn't the first time she's been in this situation? Because we know it hasn't even been explicitly stated that Gary's been in this situation before, has it? Has anyone said anything about Rick?
That hasn't been brought up recently. No.
It's really frustrating because we all know.
You know, we've still got many months ahead of us for this storyline, so there's plenty of
opportunity.
Plenty of opportunity for secrets to be uncovered. So Thursday, Bethany's starting to have second thoughts about dropping Gary in it. Maybe could Sarah just try saying that it was self-defence? And Kit's like, no. She didn't go to confess. She went to
covered it up.
Extreme lengths to cover it up. He basically guilt trips her into going along with it.
I don't think this is a guilt trip. I think he knows the score. I don't think he's wrong, but I also think he would. If
He's
there
got
was
his
a way,
agenda.
Yeah, if there was a way that Gary could get out of this, he would not take it because he wants Gary to.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we have? Oh, there's bits where Maria in the salon is talking about going to Florida on holiday, aren't they? They're going to visit the Kennedy Space Center, and Bethany's looking on quietly from the side thinking, I don't think you're going to get that holiday.
You better go now.
To be honest, I didn't think much. I didn't go much on the Kennedy Space Center. I've probably said this once on the podcast. I've said pretty much everything about my life up to this point. But when I went to Orlando when I was young, and I was older than Jake, maybe. I don't remember how old Jake is. Maybe I was about the same age, but I didn't think it was all that great. And I like the idea of it.
Oh my God.
I like the idea of the Kennedy Space Center, but I thought it was really boring. Well,
is it just where they put all the stuff like here's where the moon thing we went to?
It's like here's some rocket bits. Here's where you can stroke a bit of moon rock. Look how smooth it is now. Let's sit in a little shuttle and we'll drive up to a giant building with an American flag on. I don't know. I think everybody says it's great, and I think this is just me. My parents loved it, but I think they were of an age where the space race was quite exciting for them. We
completely missed this as a generation because our parents' generation got to see, or the buzz was still there about going to the moon. Mm. And we're of the generation where there's nothing to do and nobody's doing anything. The best thing we could hope for is that someone goes to Mars and dies there.
Oh, no, I thought they wanted to be putting somebody on the other side of the moon in the next couple of years.
Yeah, but it's not exciting. So going back?
Well, I don't know.
But children, I think there's more exciting things happening, maybe.
I think there's more exciting stuff. You're right, but I'm saying there's also more exciting things to do for a kid of Jake's age in Florida than the Kennedy Space Center. I mean, look, you got a Mario World, you got a Harry Potter World, you got Disney World, you got Busch Gardens.
Jake's
is great.
There going, I'm never going to be an astronaut, but I could be a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. SeaWorld, still controversial. Anyway, I think that I'm just being silly, really. I just really found the Kennedy Space Center boring. Although I did like their astronauts ice cream that I ate there. Anyway, Kit sits down with Gary later, having had an interesting day. I was kind of hoping that we get to see Kit investigating the wastelands, but they didn't even have the time to do that. But the long and short of it is, he didn't find anything there. But Kit's kind of manages to make Gary think that it would be in his interest to come along and see him later at the flat. So Gary does indeed follow this request. He's kind of interested by it.
Well, you've missed out so many really funny, cool bits, like the bit where they're both investigating and they send the coordinates, but also the bit where Bethany saying to Kit, "You don't know Gary like I do. He's not going to come."
And then he does.
And then he buzzed in, and Kit's like, "Maybe I don't know Gary, but I know his type."
Yeah. Gary comes round.
Bethany leaves them, and they're both alone.
Yeah, it's just the guys butting heads, rutting antlers together, isn't it? And he says, "Oh, I went on a little recce earlier. I think you're familiar with the spot, that wasteland. You went there the day after the murder, didn't you? The day you got rid of the pole." So he basically confronts Gary with this fairly convincing evidence that he was involved there.
Yeah, this is a bluff. But he's fairly confident. And this would be how exciting it would be for us if we understood poker, to watch poker games in movies and stuff, because we go, oh my gosh, he's bluffing, because at the moment we don't know. But this I understand, because they're both trying to work out what the other one knows.
Yeah.
And trying to bluff. I think this was great.
It was
These
a really
two characters together were fantastic.
Yeah, I loved it.
And the stakes are so high as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah, exactly.
And Kit may think that he knows Gary's type, but he doesn't know how dangerous Gary is when he's backed into a corner.
He's very dangerous, and he's pretty wily. I think they both are.
This is
clever,
exactly it. This is why it's
and
so
Gary
fascinating.
is very good at staying cool.
Yes.
When the heat's on him as
But
well.
Kit's
Very
got
good.
this whole institution of like power behind him, and like he's corrupt. He could do a lot more to Gary than I think Gary realises. Oh, I love it.
Are you surprised that Gary actually took his phone with him to the body disposal site? Is that a bit of a rookie mistake there? I'm going to say yes.
Do you think this is what happened? Because I don't think Gary gives it away as to whether that pole is there.
I can't remember. I thought that Gary basically... Because he's annoyed that Kit's double-crossed him, because he was like, you said you were going to get rid of my phone.
Yeah.
All the data on my phone. How dare you?
And this
Kit's
is
like,
again...
yeah, well, I just need to get Sarah off.
Yeah, this is again Gary being led down a path by Sarah, because Sarah's the one who convinced him that Kit wouldn't do anything bad.
I don't think it really matters whether or not Gary let on to Kit whether this is definitely what happened or not, because Kit's decided that this is what's happened.
No, it does matter, because it matters whether that is actually what happened. Because Gary could be doing a double gambit where he's like, oh no, I can't believe that you know where the murder weapon is, when he's like, it's not there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Canal.
He could have just happened to want to go to the industrial estate, couldn't he? Yeah.
I mean, it would be a very weird thing for him to do, but this is Coronation
I mean,
Street.
Gary does say to Kit, I risked everything for Sarah at the end. So I think he is pretty much saying, I was involved. But whether or not he's saying, yeah, that's where the murder weapon is. Because Kit says, I didn't find it there, but I could send a crack team in to go and recover it.
The thing is, I think... in true, knowing what I know about true crime, there are so many bits where they just never found the weapon. Everyone thinks that if a murder case only goes to trial when every single element is completely 100%, but it's perfectly possible that they would never find it.
Yeah, it helps. Certainly helps, doesn't it? Anyway,
I mean, what proof have they? All they've got is that he went somewhere with his phone.
Yeah.
Unless they find the murder weapon there. But if they do find it, that's Gary done.
Yeah, he's stuffed, isn't he? And Gary's still he's furious because he said, look, I risked everything for Sarah. You should be grateful to me that I'm doing this to protect your girlfriend. Honestly, I've got no romantic intentions towards her, which I really don't think he does. No. But anyway, Gary's given until 3 p.m. the next day to confess. Kit didn't realise that there wasn't going to be an episode on Friday, so hopefully the extension to Sunday will do him fine.
It's a long time.
He basically what is it? So either Gary's got to confess that he helped, and then he'll get a few months in prison.
Yes.
Sarah may well get off.
Yes.
Or Kit
will stitch him up.
Kit will say, yeah, you did it, and here's the murder weapon. So
I think Kit's very...
bit of a good catch-22 situation he's in.
I think Kit would definitely pull the whole stupid Sarah got manipulated by Gary, some kind of romantic, Yeah.
But it frustrates me because that's not what happened.
I know, but this is why it's kind of funny.
I want to see Sarah go down in the same way that you want to see Gillian go down.
This is much more interesting.
This is more interesting to me because it's just soapy murder
stuff. I know, it's ridiculous, and there's no justifying it really, because murder's worse.
Yeah.
And I feel really conflicted because, again, it's not like murder's a crime that is unbothered and bothers women. It's always, whatever. It just feels as though nobody's watching this going, oh, so you can get away with murder.
No, I know, exactly. Exactly. I just need to know how to murder safely. There's no safe way of doing it.
Oh, jeez.
Right, last
Final
one,
story.
Gemma. That's rich.
Yeah.
That's rich. So, new storyline alert.
A bunch of wholesome lads, aren't they? All having a nice chat about being men.
Yes.
So on Thursday...
Probably talking about strangulation techniques.
No, they would not. These guys are all wholesome, aren't they? The only bad thing is that Richie's got a bitch wife.
Yeah.
That's not his fault. That's not his fault. So Tim goes in his cab and, here's my cousin. I haven't seen you for ages.
fancy a relative just popping out of nowhere.
Suddenly appearing relative.
What are the chances of having a suddenly existing relative? What do you think, Alia?
Is he your uncle or your cousin? You've got to double check because you don't really know.
What do you think, Tyrone?
You've got to check to see if it's really your mum or not because you can have more than one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tim, it's like,
check the age. Did he actually have a secret affair with Elaine?
Richie actually Tim's dad?
Yeah, strange how he didn't bring up Jeff.
No, I know. How's your dad?
Well, I think probably Richie should know about what happened to Jeff by this point, because assuming he listens to the news.
Well, no, exactly. So Richie's like, "How are you doing? Oh wow, I haven't seen each other for ages." If you met up with your cousin whose dad turned out to get murdered by a chicken, you would be like, "Oh, Tim, I'm so sorry I haven't sent you a card. Are you all right? I didn't come to the funeral because it was weird."
Yeah.
You would be like, right, whoa. Anyway, they have this conversation about the fact that there's a go-kart competition and there's a
when they were younger, in 1981,
and they both think they won. So Tim comes home and tells Brady, "I'm going to have Richie around for drinks later, but I've got to find the certificate to prove that I was right and I was the one who won." And he finds the certificate. I'm going to say something. This is really... Should I even say this?
I don't know.
Is it possible that Tim, because he couldn't read,
no,
didn't know? Am I supposed... I can't say that, can I?
I think he's probably just misremembering the action of what happened.
Oh dear, I went there. So he finds the certificate and it is actually Richie who won the race.
He recognises his own name.
Yeah, I don't know. So they come back and they have a nice beer, don't they? Beer session in the house.
Yes.
It's Steve, Kirk, Chesney, Ben, Michael and... Tim, and Richie.
I don't want to make this into a competition, and it was nice seeing them all together, but they don't really hold a candle to Debbie and her gal pals for a Corrie get-together scene, do they?
It's just inherently more Corrie to be a fun middle-aged woman than to be a fun middle-aged man.
Yeah, they're fighting a losing battle, really, aren't they?
It's against them.
But it was a bunch of, Kirk, Chesney.
They're all sitting around talking, aren't they? And
I don't remember what they talked
about. I really
about.
don't remember. I didn't pick up on this, but it's obviously clear to everybody else that Richie was just being a big dick to Steve.
Well, yeah, he
didn't like it.
He was talking about. He says, "Oh, Amy," because they talk about. I think maybe they do talk about the strangling.
I wasn't listening.
I don't remember what it was, but Richie was saying, "Oh yeah, that Amy when she was at choir practice, is that why she didn't get up to strangling or something?" I don't know. I might be making it up, but it was words to that effect. Anyway.
Oh, that's bad.
That's what it might not even been to do with the strangling, but basically
he makes a joke
about Amy,
about his daughter, and Steve doesn't like this.
No.
I think a lot of people also really like this scene because of the camaraderie and the friendship group.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
it's all good.
It's very fair to say that this isn't modelled, male friendships. Coronation Street has got a lot of room to pat itself on the back for this because they do really show lots of healthy, positive male friendships, which is very rare, but there's definitely always room for improvement.
Yes.
So anyway, they all go home and Richie is left with Tim and he's like, God, I've got to go home now to my horrible wife. She's such a bitch. She's going to moan. She won't like it that I'm drunk and she also won't like it if I don't come home.
Yeah.
By the way, what happened to Trisha? That bird that you was shagging when you were a little boy. And Tim's like, we don't talk about it anymore.
He brings up Trisha, but not Jeff.
Tim's like, we don't have that story anymore. She's gone on holiday.
It served its purpose. Megan is in prison. Yeah. No more questions.
We don't need to talk about it. So Steve goes back to number one with Ben and they're having a conversation and Ben says, maybe you're just a bit jealous of Tim having a relative, like he was jealous of you having a relative.
Your suddenly appearing relative made Tim jealous, so maybe you're just jealous of his suddenly appearing relative.
He's like, maybe one day, you don't know, maybe one day you'll have a brother that's both your brothers.
Yeah, you'll find a shared fanny in the past, like Gail and George did.
Yeah, have a nice share a fanny together. So
and maybe you just miss Cassie.
Maybe you miss Cassie, who's
Steve's
possibly
like, no.
dead. Maybe Cassie was murdered by Ross. Sure hope that doesn't happen to anyone else.
Sure hope not. Anyway, what did you make of Richie? He just does. He's like totally he's the laddish alpha male character that I really don't like. Like I said, he was a bit like Tim in the way that they had him look in his polo shirt and bald head and everything, but he was a lot more of a lad.
He was a negative influence.
Yeah, so I didn't think too much of him. But I like I said, I'm just conditioned to mistrust all new characters at the moment. I tell you what, that's Sienna's mum, wrong un.
She's probably done something terrible in her past, but she's forgotten about it, so it doesn't count. Gotta be.
Right, that is this week's Corrie. I can't believe this went on for so long and there was only 4 episodes. It's
because I wouldn't shut up about Dylan.
You wouldn't shut up about Dylan, it's fine. That's what the podcast platform is for. Who are we giving as a character of the week this week? What are you thinking?
Richie's bitch wife.
No, you can't include her. Are you going to go for Lisa for having a go at Dylan? Are you going to do Lauren for putting Dylan in hospital? I mean, I'm gonna. I know she was only in at Monday, but I think Cassie is quite a strong contender because I just want to say goodbye to her, and I love Cassie, and I'm looking forward to doing her character profile where we'll get to talk a lot more about her. But was she a character of the week when she really was only in 1 episode of the week? I don't know.
It's difficult because I think reading this through, it made me realise that my favourite story was definitely the Kit and Gary stuff.
Yeah.
But which are either of those
didn't make
eligible
the week, did it?
For character of the week? Because I think I like them both equally in that scene, and that's why I really enjoy it, because I don't have a clear favourite for who I want to win this, except maybe I do want Gary to win, but I don't want Kit to leave.
Yeah. I want to give a little shout out to Fizz as well, because I was literally going, you go on there, Fizz. You don't take any of what he's saying. You investigate this and don't just let it drop. So I really appreciated her for that, and Corrie for doing that with her. I feel like it's just a bit of an easy one to say Cassie, but I to me, I don't think any of the characters in the Beyond a Choke story were character of the week for me. They didn't make the week for me. The Debbie story, I mean, Asha was lovely. Debbie is great because she's always great. Ronnie was lovely as always. I'm gonna say, gosh, I don't know. I'm
gonna pick Kit.
I think I might go for Kit, and I know that's very unlike me.
It is a bit.
But he was kind of the instigator of what made some of my favourite bits of the week on Thursday's episode, even though I loved a lot of Monday's episode as well.
He's so misguided in this, because trying to make a victim out of Gary Windass is not going to end well.
I certainly hope not. Yeah, I'll go for Kit. And score-wise, I think I'm just going to go with 3.5 one-way tickets to Switzerland out of 5 this week.
I haven't even got anything in my head for this.
I hadn't. I'd literally not even considered it, which is why I'm going to my... It wasn't good enough to be in the 4s. It wasn't bad enough to be in the 2s. And actually, I really did quite like Monday's episode.
There was a lot of drama.
Which I know a lot of people didn't, but hey, I did. And...
It's frustrating. The Cassie storyline was frustrating because I don't think people are being written well. And I'm just beyond annoyed with the direction that the Betsy storyline is going with Dylan. But I think on the whole, it's a 3.
Okay.
3 coordinates that lead you directly to the murder weapon.
Oh, is it like 3 words?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't know what those 3 words are. I haven't got
the creativity at the moment. That's fine. Well, there we go. That's the Sweet Street Talk.